Hey everyone, welcome to the Generation Y Conservative podcast. I'm glad that you could join us tonight. Tonight's topics, we actually have an interesting guest with us, with Andrew Oliveira. He is from Easton. He's the high school senior who made some at least local news and has been in multiple interviews across the valley for what he did. And we're going to get into that a little bit. We're actually going to go over his story and ask him some questions about what he was doing. He was, well, here's a good hint. He was one of the speakers with me at the Second Amendment rally 2 weekends ago. Also, we're going to be talking about Roseanne and what's going on there and the hypocrisy of the liberal media and the far left of our society and what's going on with that. We're also going to get into some really big things. Our main topic tonight is actually going to be in regards to Trump and one of the policies that he just signed into law for the right to fight. And along with that, in a related story, a woman gives birth prematurely to 2 babies that they said they could save and ended up doing nothing about. It has me infuriated. We're going to talk about that. We also have some more things to cover. But in the meantime, sit back and enjoy. This is the Generation Y Conservative Podcast. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on the Generation Y Conservative Podcast. I'm glad that you could join us tonight. If you're following along right now, if this is your first time tuning in, if it happens to be because I tagged Andrew in this case, you can actually follow along on the Facebook page by searching for the Generation Y Conservative, hitting like and the Get Notifications button, where you can actually see all the stories that we post throughout the week on things that we find interesting. It usually turns out that those end up being the stories that we cover for the night in the podcast that week. Also, very important to do, go to the YouTube channel, search for the Generation Y Conservative, hit subscribe, and then the little bell to get the notifications when we actually publish videos on there as well. Because not only do we have the podcast on that channel, we also have our movie reviews. And as I keep on teasing, it hasn't happened yet, but more things coming up this summer that will be really interesting as well. If you want to follow along on Twitter, if you're following with the Facebook live stream right now, you can see at the bottom of the screen there is the Twitter handle, which is @GenYConservative, without the E on the end. And if you're interested in listening to the audio-only portion of the podcast, you can find me on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all thanks to KLRN Internet Radio, where you can hear this podcast re-aired on Sundays from 3 to 6 p.m. on their internet radio station. And just thank you to them for their putting me out onto everything else. So, we're going to jump right in tonight with our guest, and then he's going to follow us throughout the night and jump in on the topics as well. But we actually want to get into his story first. So this is according to, in case you don't know, we're in the Lehigh Valley here. This is Lehigh Valley Live. We were just talking about this, and it seems like this was about, if not the first article written about Andrew here. And it says, in between the messages of hope and loss during Wednesday's national school walkout, so this is back when they actually pushed for the walkout on students, something was missing for Easton area high school senior Andrew Oliveira, and that was his point of view. The Forks Township resident believes current federal regulations on guns are adequate, and while he sympathizes with the families of school shooting victims, he doesn't think stricter gun laws will help matters. That's why he wants to set up an event in school to balance against the Wednesday walkout. Easton area high school students were among thousands nationwide who walked out of the school at 10 a.m. to raise awareness for gun violence, and the event was exactly a month after 17 students were killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. The walkout consisted of 17 minutes, one for each of the students killed, and the protests were coordinated, go figure, through the youth branch of the Women's March. The ones walking around in pussy hats, the ones that you're supposed to be taking seriously, and use a social media hashtag enough. So before we get into what the article says about what he said, let's just go straight to the source with Andrew. So Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's just go back to the incident.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically announced nationwide through social media and everything else that these students are going to be having a walkout because of what's been going on in schools.
Correct.
And they think that this is somehow a good idea, putting students outside as open targets for a person who actually may want to go and cause harm to them.
Yeah.
When the schools are actually supposed to be protecting the students throughout the day when they're
exactly
watching them.
Yeah.
So you hear about this.
Yeah.
What was going through your head?
So the first thing that went through my head was, what is the message? What is the whole goal of this walkout? And while there were actually 2 walkouts, one on March 14th and one on April 20th, the first one, I did a little background research, and as you said, they were funded by the Women's March. And if you go straight to the Women's March, they're not just all about women's rights. If you look at their agenda, they openly advocate for dismantling the NRA. They openly advocate for Democrats to not vote in Trump appointee justices to rule on gun laws. So if you just look at it, what they claimed was they were pushing it for school safety, but what it really was, they were pushing for a gun control agenda. And these kids were being used as political pawns by this interest group. And it's a shame that all the kids that walked out, at least in my school, really had no idea what was going on. And the national media reported it as being that. So because of that, they were getting screwed and they were getting played.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Here's one thing I'm interested in. We're going to get into the what actually happened with the response in the community and everything, because that's one thing I want to cover with you.
Yeah.
What is your background? Like, what is going on with your family? Like, did you get your values from your family, or did you just pick up on this yourself? Because I'll be honest with you, I've never even covered this in the podcast. My parents were apolitical.
Yeah.
They didn't outright say to me which way to lean or anything, but it was things that they taught me that when I look back on it, I say, maybe they were teaching me conservative values, and I just never knew where I politically aligned, because at first I thought I was liberal until I actually started looking at each issue on an individual basis and saying, no, this is where I fall.
Right. So it all starts for me back when I'd say about 8 years ago, right around when I was 10, I started going to the pro-life march down in Washington, D.C. Part of my church, I'm a Catholic, so I go to church almost every Sunday.
There's another one finally.
And so it started there. And to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really have an interest in politics. I just had an interest in, being pro-life. So that branched off, and then it really didn't hit me until, 2015, when I started seeing, I am getting a job, where's my money going to, things like that. The news was starting to come on every night. I started to sit down a little bit, watch it a little bit, and then it clicked. I mean, YouTube, staying up till 2 a.m. on my bed, watching political videos, and then that's when I started developing.
So how old were you at this point when you, everything started?
14, 15 years old. Okay. I mean, you're
a senior.
Correct. Now I'm a senior.
So 3-4 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, mostly in my high school, I'm that political kid. Yeah. And it just so happens that political kid is the one conservative in the school.
That's what I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
What is your school like as far as politics?
I would put it about 80% left, 20% right.
But they're silent, right?
The right is very silent, correct.
Okay.
A lot of the times we find it that kids that lean right are I would say they're victims, basically, because what they do is they're either made fun of, they're discounted in other events. Personally, I've seen people I know personally not talk to me anymore just because I decided to speak up for Second Amendment rights. I mean, it's kind of a shame, and I think the problem is we have a generation that is so hell-bent on their opinion, and they're quote-unquote into their truth, not the truth, but their truth.
And oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, I think the problem is, with this, these kids think they're right on everything, and nobody's willing to listen. And because of that, there is this one, I think we see it in present day, there's a lot of hate in the political world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of dysfunctional talk going on. And in my school, you can't have a solid discussion with anybody. And it's a real shame. I mean, I've seen it with teachers. I've seen it with, the superintendent. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, for example, it was 2 Februarys ago, and the NAACP asked me to speak at a event. It was a bit of a forum, more like a debate. And they asked me what I felt the most important thing was when it came to the African American community. And that's when I brought up abortion rights. I said, Margaret Sanger, she believed in the same thing Adolf Hitler with genetic mutations, things like that, and how blacks were dysfunctionally had a disadvantage because of what they were. And I mentioned that, and I got into a little debate with a girl, and at the debate, she said, well, if you look at adoption rates...
When you say at the debate, was this like a personal debate?
No, it was actually full of thousands of kids in our school.
No kidding.
Yeah. So she decided to say something to the extent of, oh, well, if you look at adoption rates, kids are more likely that are adopted to fail in life. And then I hit her with, you're part of the NAACP. If you look at statistics, African Americans are more inclined to fail. Should we kill all of them too? And because I said that, the school district put a target on my back. Teachers put a target on my back.
Goodness.
I mean, I've seen it day in, day out. I mean, that's just part of life.
You're basically making a bigger example of what she said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And proving a point with it.
At their own.
Not saying your opinion is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what they can't understand.
Yeah.
They have a lovely way of twisting words, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was probably one of the best sentences I ever said in a debate. It was great.
Here's
but
my question.
Go ahead.
In regards to, you had said something there for a second about their truth versus the truth.
Correct.
Have you heard that anywhere before?
That kind of, I hear it on the radio waves. I mean, I listen to a bunch of conservative talk. A lot of it has to do with that. I mean, the biggest time I saw it, when Oprah made that speech at the Oscars, she said, just fight for your truth. Yes. And that quote was taken, and that was run on Twitter for that whole night. Everyone was praising her. Oh, what a hero she is. If you look at it, that is probably the most dysfunctional quote I've ever seen a celebrity talk. And it got no coverage at all. Do you know that President Obama and his wife have both said along the lines of your truth or their truth versus the truth? The truth. And that's what's scary. And that's what develops this political correctness age. And I think because of that, people are getting frustrated. People like me who have gone through that trouble of dealing with your truth. Yeah. And I think that's how we get somebody like Trump into office. Things like that, People were fed up. My dad was fed up with the bureaucracy at his old job at the police station. He was totally fed up with it, and he was totally fed up with political people. He had run-ins with Cory Booker, met him personally. Oh, jeez. Wait, how? So he used to be a Newark cop, believe it or not, my father.
Oh, Newark?
Newark.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And...
What's your background? Are you Portuguese?
Yeah.
Two Portuguese Catholics on the podcast. Yeah.
Oliveira e Ribeiro.
Yeah, but no, he was in Newark, and he had a little trouble with his job staying a police officer because he moved to Pennsylvania. And Cory Booker said, look, if you endorse me for my run for Newark, because my dad made a little news coverage, I'll get you your job. My father endorsed him, campaigned with him, met the Clintons, yada, yada, yada. Booker gets elected, he gets screwed. So, believe it or not, my family background, going back to it, was actually, my mom supported Jimmy Carter, so it was actually a little left.
Yeah,
so, but
that's a lot left.
Yeah. Now that Reagan changed everything for them, which is good. But yeah, I think when it comes to the school, though, I think the problem really is we have this thing called your truth, and teachers are pushing it. Holy cow! Really? I mean, just yesterday, we're learning now in high school how to run, fight, and hide shooters. Yep. So,
assault rocks and assault little mini bats.
Oh, iPads, but yeah. But my teacher said,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, in that kind of situation,
oh yeah,
if you're a student, you damn well better pick up whatever you have and just start throwing at them.
Yeah.
To distract them so someone with the balls can go and tackle.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I mean, my teacher, who I know she's very liberal, she came out and said to the kids, I wouldn't be surprised if 5 or 6 kids had a gun here right now.
It wouldn't surprise me either.
I mean, and then a kid seemed a little scared of it. He goes, why can't we just get rid of them? And she looked at him and said, I don't know, that's an option. So
it is.
It is. And the fact that she overall is kind of hinting at a political viewpoint, I don't feel that's appropriate in a school district, and that's what was happening, especially March 14th, April 20th, with the school district. And I noticed through Superintendent Reinhardt, they were pushing a very left-wing agenda. I got fed up with it. A few people who knew me and leaned right secretly decided to say, look, we need somebody, and it's going to be you. You're the only one that has...
So you're outspoken.
Yeah, I'm the only one that had the cojones to go say something.
Okay, so let's jump to the time frame of the rally.
Yes.
So it's my understanding you had a hard time getting that.
Correct.
To go so what was the holdup? How did you overcome it? And what were the obstacles that were put in your way?
So the holdup was the superintendent. So the superintendent didn't seem very promising as to...
And that was Reinhardt?
Reinhardt, correct.
Reinhardt, is that how you say it? Reinhardt?
Yeah, Reinhardt. Yep.
Superintendent Reinhardt?
Correct. And and he it's no secret he leans left.
Okay.
In my first article, they quoted him saying he sympathizes with the March 14th walkout. So saying you particularly have feelings for but from the Women's March, saying that organization, that their motivation, their rally has sympathy from you, that right there is showing a political leaning. And I was very, very disgusted by the whole thing. And I went to the principal and I said, look, I want my own. And he said, yeah, we'll talk, me and you. And I knew what was going to happen. It was going to snowball. It was going to get slowed down. It was going to turn, come April, May, June, I would have never had it.
Yep. So
I went straight to the superintendent, and I went straight to the school board. And I'm not sure, there's a big of a case at Easton as well due to a firing of a African American wrestling coach. The NAACP got involved with that, and they had a board meeting. And that board meeting drew thousands of people watching it live.
Yeah.
So I went up in the board meeting, and I said, Mr. Reinhardt, you read my article, you saw me on TV. I was on Independent Journal Review, national news. You guys know what I'm here for. If you don't accept my rally, I will file a lawsuit. And right then and there, it became a war. And Reinhardt didn't want to approve it. And
what was his reason?
His reasoning was his main reasoning was he didn't see a very meaningful motive for it. Do
they teach the Constitution in school anymore? I mean, we're a couple years out.
Yeah, I mean, I got a pocket Constitution. I think I pulled it out maybe twice in school.
It's probably foreign to history.
Yeah, right.
But so I contacted the Republican Party. They hooked me up with a lawyer. We went into a meeting with the superintendent and the principal with the lawyer. We threatened a lawsuit, and because of that, they caved in. They didn't meet all my demands. My demands were to have it on a separate day as the other upcoming walkout and to have it indoors. Okay. Their reasoning was they didn't want to spend money on security. I can understand that. I mean, as a conservative, I feel for the budget.
Well, they wouldn't have to spend it on security if it's in the building.
Well, with media, things
like a pep rally.
Yeah.
They said if I had it indoors, they would have to spend money to make sure media can come in. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I mean, everybody wanted the media coverage. Their rally, my rally, that was the main goal, to have political influence amongst the area, the country, things like that. And I think the problem was we didn't see eye to eye as to what my goal was, and I don't think he understood what my goal actually was. I think he thought my goal was more to be a bit of a troll, when my goal really was just to educate the students, the 80% of the leaning left, that look, there is another side to the story.
Yeah.
And there is another option here. It's not take away the guns. It's not gun control, whatever that means. It's not banning quote-unquote assault rifles. It's making schools safer, making sure we have the proper resources inside the school, making sure there's no soft spots, things like that, and we can still protect the Constitution and still protect the Second Amendment, and we can also have the federal government mandate all states, local municipalities, military branches to make sure people are put into the NICS system. And I think that right there, that would be my main focus as to how to stop things like this.
Okay.
But the superintendent really didn't see eye to eye. So he approved of it, but it was at the same day, same time, outside, and we had the rally, and it went, I think it went really well overall.
So it was a speaking rally?
Yes, it was more, we had 5 students.
Because they just stood off in silence, right?
Actually, so this is the funny part. They had pizza. They had 500 slices of pizza donated to them.
Oh man, what? I mean, students wouldn't want to go outside.
Yeah,
for
I
pizza
know, right?
too,
I mean, it was basically a party for them, and we heard music playing.
That's because they're ignorant of facts. They don't care as long as they get out of school and they don't have to do anything, and that they get pizza or something.
Yeah,
There's like a reward for it.
Exactly. And another thing they did was they registered people to vote. And now I know that the legality of that is within question because you're doing it during school hours on school property with the school district's approval. And I feel as if, Reinhardt attended their rally, never attended mine. He didn't even want to talk to me.
Did you see each other?
We could see, we were about the opposite sides of campus. Campus is about, I'd say, 1,000 yards.
Okay.
So they were off in the distance. Yes, we could kind of see each other.
And was the whole school outside at one or the other?
That's tough to say. I would say half the school is outside. So it's a school of 2,800. I'd say about actually I wouldn't even say that. I'd say about 600 went outside.
Okay. So they did have a choice.
They had a choice whether to stay inside or not. Yes.
See, that's interesting to me because I would think that those that chose to stay inside were not happy with the choice of being represented by those outside.
Yes.
So I would almost feel like they're more inclined to lean toward your position.
Yes. From basically just word of mouth, hearing it from ear, a lot of the people that I know didn't want to go outside because A, they knew that there was going to be kickback from it. They knew around the school they were going to get...
They felt that they were going to be targeted?
Correct. Yeah.
The staff and everything?
Oh, yes. I mean, everyone knows that I've been targeted. My house has been vandalized multiple times, things like that. Yeah, so they didn't want to jump on that wagon. I don't blame them. We still had good turnout. They had about, I would say, 200 people maybe at the most in person there.
Okay.
We had about 80 in person. We live streamed it, which is what got over 300 views.
Okay.
They didn't live stream it. So when it came to views, we actually had more, which we deemed as a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
It was a good success.
Yeah, sure.
But I think the problem was Reinhardt clearly leans left on this issue. And his vocal viewpoint, including to the media, was clear that it was left, and he showed that as to which rally he showed up to, things like that, and the fact that I needed even to meet with him.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about
and threaten legal action.
Yeah.
Let me go back to that.
Go ahead.
That's the one thing I want to ask you about. It's not really exactly devil's advocate on this.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen this parts of other podcasts that we've talked about, but the biggest issue I have, first of all, let me just say this. I don't think you could have gotten a response from the school district through any other means but to threaten a lawsuit.
Yeah.
But what we've talked about in the past, what we really have a problem with is if you sue a school district, you're suing the taxpayers.
Correct.
And it's them that pay, and the school district never learns their lesson because it never comes out of their pockets.
Correct. And
so that's a hard Republican or conservative stance to take.
Yeah.
So was there a discussion between you and the Republican group or the lawyer or anything like that?
It was basically just an internal discussion I had with myself. I said, well, we're going to make sure this school is held accountable as to what the money would go to if we did win a case that was up for the table. I obviously wouldn't keep it for myself, but
you'd probably have a more productive way to spend it than the school would.
That honestly might be right. But what really hit me was, once this school loses money, that's when people would pay attention to the story. That's when people would realize.
But then they get mad at you.
Then they would get mad at me,
Yeah.
and then this is where it would come in. They would also get mad at the school district, and they would make a quote unquote free market decision as to whether to send their kids there or not. And then once they realize, hey, we're losing attendance, we're losing people, this school's being dogged on as being left wing, then it'll hit them. Hey, maybe we should approve of it. And just speaking to somebody at the Second Amendment rally that we had 2 weeks ago, somebody there was good friends with the solicitor of the Easton Area School District, and they asked him, why did you have to approve of the kid, meaning me? He said, quote unquote, because this kid would own the school district if we didn't approve of it. They knew I had the legal grounds, and that right there, just the fact that showing them I have the you-know-what to come at you legally and take you on, and that right there, I think that's why they caved. So as to, I don't even know personally if I would have took it all the way with the lawsuit. I think just threatening the lawsuit kind of got them scared, and the fact that I had an attorney present kind of shook them up a bit. So, but if there was money coming my way, that's a great question. I wouldn't keep it for myself, obviously, but I see the taxpayer issue, but I don't
think anybody ever thinks about that.
Yeah, and I agree.
Well, I was on a school board. I was elected to the school board twice, so I know that's an angle I always had to be aware of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think what I would have done personally is, if they wanted to go with the lawsuit, I would have stopped. Personally, they're willing to go that far, then they think they have the ground for something. They're willing to waste money, let them waste money. But I personally think that if the money were to be lost on their half, a free market decision would have been made, quote unquote, since it's not really free market with federal government, state government getting involved. But I do feel like a free market decision would have been made amongst the people to switch out of the school.
Yeah. So now, I'll be honest with you. I look at you and I think to myself, number one, I was apolitical, politically unaware at the time in high school.
Yeah, me too.
Didn't really care what was going on myself at the time. And when it came to putting myself out there for anything, I was the shy kid, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've known me post that kind of phase of my life and everything.
Yeah.
But I would be terrified of being painted into a situation in a school district and targeted by teachers and the administration and everything. I've since taken my licks from those exact people, but being on the board end of it myself.
Yeah.
But I want to take it a step further.
Go ahead.
You had to worry about the superintendent, which is scary enough as a student.
Yeah.
Then you also had to deal with the mayor of your town.
Yes.
Of your city.
So one day I was walking down the street of my downtown. Happened to be the same day as the March 24th rally, which is nothing to do with the school.
So this is before your...
Before my rally. This is when I started jumping into the news. I was on Oliveira Live, National News, Independent Journal Review, 69 News on TV. And that's when people started recognizing me, who I was. And on my way to work, I just so happened to have to walk through the center and pass by that rally. And I was recognized by one of the protesters, and he started saying explicit words to me, dropping the F-bomb, things like that. I just kept me walking along, just doing my thing, and a few people jumped in. It kept getting worse and worse, and police had to get involved, saying, hey, let him go. Then the mayor saw that altercation with the police, came up, and questioned as to why was I in his town? Why was me, the 5'4", 120-pound kid walking around in his dangerous town? And he thought that I basically shouldn't have been there. He got into a shouting match with me, saying I was only there to cause trouble, when in reality I was there to go work and then pay Easton city taxes after I get my paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
So
wait, what is the name of the Easton mayor?
Sal Panto.
Sal Panto?
Yeah.
Sal Panto?
Yeah, he's been there.
Sal Panto, is that the name?
Yeah. He's been there for a long time.
So it's a dangerous city that he's basically in charge of cleaning up and hasn't done that
for a long time.
And,
yes.
He is questioning why you would be walking.
What a great response that would have been. Why are you walking through my dangerous city? Well, you ruled this city for a long time. Why is it still dangerous? Whose fault is that?
Has there been any interaction since then, or any back and forth
between me and the mayor?
Yeah.
No. It was just basically that. He also got into other shouting matches with people there as to, like, why are you approving of this? Why are you wasting my taxpayer money to have the police watch this? I mean, he got into a few shouting matches that day that I personally saw. Other than that, I haven't spoken to the mayor. I know the mayor knows about me.
Yeah.
Because he mentioned something about me in Levi Live as well. But other than that, nothing with the mayor. Nothing with really other politicians besides ones that lean right and supported me. But and of course the superintendent. But other than that, no, there's really nothing else with the mayor and other politicians. So.
Did anybody video your speech at the rally the other weekend?
That I don't know. Actually, I believe there is one person that have a few minutes. If you click on the Live's news article, they have a YouTube video that part of my speech was in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to try to fit that into the final version of the podcast. Why don't you just briefly describe, before we go into the other topics for tonight, what was your objective with the speech and what was the central argument that you were making?
So I'll go with the central argument first. My main argument was, why was the Second Amendment even created? And that was to fight government tyranny, whether it was our government or government of foreign nature. And that's basically the strongest argument for the Second Amendment. In my opinion, it's practically the only argument you should be thinking about for the Second Amendment. Of course, there's crime statistics which support concealed carry laws, things like that. But I think, as to when I debate and when I focus on the Second Amendment, it is government tyranny. That's what hits home to me, and that's what hits home to a lot of people. And, you know, a lot of times I get hit with the question, you know, when has this happened, this government tyranny conspiracy? And
I believe we had a tea party over there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And
history's clearly not being taught.
Yeah, and I mentioned things like, you know, you have Hitler, Stalin, Castro, Kim Jong-un currently. You know, look at Iran. That's a hellhole right now. Syria. And a lot of those places, the citizens' rights and arms were stripped. And that is always the first goal. I actually had a very conservative teacher in 11th grade for history. And he talked about, you know, what do you do as a government to gain control of the people? And it was to disarm the people and control the narrative. You do those two things. Yep, you do those two things, and you'll have complete control. And that hit home to me, and that really is the most solid foundation for the Second Amendment. And in my speech, I highlighted that as the most important thing. Of course, I initiated some policy prescriptions as to how to solve things like school shootings, things like that. Other than that, I think another thing that a lot of people mistake is that, this generation coming up, the right things they're going to get them come 20 years from now. They're going to get about 50% of this generation's vote. Personally, I don't see us getting 40%. It is that bad of my generation. It is that bad, and it is very, very scary. And personally, I see it as a personal vendetta to make sure my generation doesn't go spoiled and go left. Whether it's helping 2 people change or 2 million people change their minds politically. I personally want to make it my life objective to help this country out politically through talk, through words, and make sure we're going on the right path. And if you look at history, definitely the right path is a conservative government.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
No argument here.
Yeah.
One thing that I kind of wanted to ask about was when you mentioned, first off, even bringing up legal action towards a school, and also you mentioned your house getting vandalized.
Correct.
What was the support like from family, from your parents? How was that? And also your friends at school, because I know you said a lot of them kind of stay silent.
So my family, they're the people that, they're kind of the type of person, Andrew, you want to go do it? Go do it. I would come home and I report to my mom. She doesn't report to me. Say, Mom, I did this today. I went in front of the school board. I threatened to sue them. Oh, good job. Okay. Things like that.
What's on the docket tomorrow?
Yeah. Mom, I have a meeting with the Republican Party. You do? Yeah, I do. Things like that.
Yeah.
They were supportive of me. They said, what you want to do, go run and do it. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. That's what I ran with. That's what I did. And when it came to friends, my solid friends were always there. They get it. They knew me way before I was a political nuthead.
Yeah.
So, but the people that weren't really cozy with me, you could see the switch. You can see them, start to turn on me, talk to me less, things like that. Doesn't bother me. Really doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, just shows you weren't going to hang with me for the long run, so that's all cool.
And it's funny how they're the tolerant tolerant side, right?
One, yeah.
But they just won't even talk to you if they think you don't think the way they do.
Yeah.
So just so you know, Zara said, "Amen, kiddo. Others of your generation support you, and their mommies too."
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions in regards to what he's going through and went through it all?
No. What's your background with firearms? Do you guys own at home? And
yeah, we have about, I'd say.
Don't say how many you have at home.
Yeah, we have about
a few.
We have about a few. Yeah.
A few.
Yeah. I don't have enough fingers to count all of them, but we have firearms. Yes.
Yeah.
I did hunt for a little bit. Small game like dove, things like that.
Kittens, puppies.
None of that, but none of that. But if I'm gonna be completely honest, this will shock a lot of people. I haven't fired a gun in years, but I still find this is one of the most important issues.
Sure.
And
I have gone shooting with friends, but I don't own anything as of yet. Anyway.
Yeah.
Should have gone to that rally, try to win one.
I tried to get
but I just work. Us Republicans and working, you know, don't have time to go to rallies and protests.
I had to schedule.
We got families to feed, damn it.
No, it's interesting that you say that because honestly, I never hunted in my life.
Yeah.
It wasn't until a few years ago that I owned a firearm. I've always been a Second Amendment supporter, and I don't know if you got a chance to see the speech. I know you had left early because you had prom and everything.
Yeah.
But in my speech, I made it very clear, the one thing that people don't understand is the Second Amendment is the only amendment that protects all the other amendments. Like, your free speech is not going to protect you from police illegally entering your home and searching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, now, I'm not saying to shoot the police with the Second Amendment.
Yes, yeah.
What I'm saying is to protect that right itself.
Yes.
Yep.
The Second Amendment exists because of tyrannical governments, which is exactly what you're talking about, and holding them in check and accountable for those amendments themselves.
Absolutely correct.
And we have a generation now of people that we went through women's suffrage. You and I were talking before we even started the podcast. We were trying to discuss what that switch was. You were saying it was Lyndon B. Johnson and everything, but about where the Republicans were the ones that voted for women's rights.
Yeah.
And the civil rights movement, the Democrats were basically completely against it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, somewhere in the 80s, the narrative completely gets flipped around, and the Democrats will say that they're the ones that voted for those things. And you have the voting records right there.
Right there, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no.
Yeah.
No, that was when the Republicans and the Democrats just switched their titles. What the hell are you talking about?
I know. Like, do they really think everyone went to the voting booths and changed their registration? Come on.
It's so ridiculous.
For fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think so. Okay, well, let's go on from here. Anything else on that at all?
No.
Okay.
Thanks for what you're doing out there, because I mean, especially in your generation, it's a voice that needs to be heard and shared with as many people as possible. Because one thing I noticed too, with when you actually listen to the viewpoints of speakers on either side, I feel like especially a lot of kids, right, that you're the 80% that you say lean left. Like, if I had to bet, they're hearing celebrities and all the Avengers, and they just kind of go with it, and it's the cool thing, and they feel like it's, but if you actually have some that are willing to sit down and listen to where you're coming from, it's not from a racist or a misogynistic or oppressive viewpoint, I think that there are people that, if their minds are open, definitely can be.
And I think a lot of it with my generation is they are very sheep-like.
Oh, for sure.
And I think we're seeing that a lot in the African American community. When Candace Owens and Kanye West came out as leaning right, we saw
they're mentally ill.
They're mentally ill, but the black males, they went from 11% Republican to 22% Republican just from that. So personally, I don't know what a celebrity has to do with a person's life.
No.
I don't know what Kanye West's raps have an influence on your life politically.
Yep.
But hey, I'll take it. But I don't believe that the celebrity worshiping that my generation does, and a lot of left wingers are doing. I don't think that celebrity worshiping is where we should be going. I mean, saying that somebody, because they're famous, their morals are at a higher ground than somebody else's.
They just use the spotlight to
Yeah.
their soapbox.
And
Andrew, you can hold on to that.
Yeah, because we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
So hold on to that for now. So I just want to piggyback off of the whole conversation on you and head all the way down to my retirement ground down in Texas with the Texas governor.
I'll be there in a few years.
It gets sooner and sooner, I think, right?
Yep.
Texas governor has unveiled a plan to reduce gun violence in schools. So Governor Greg Abbott down there, awesome governor. He's like one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
So, Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Wednesday unveiled his plan to reduce gun violence in schools in the wake of a mass shooting at a high school in his state. The School and Firearm Safety Action Plan contains 40 proposals and recommendations, including more law enforcement at schools, mental health evaluations for students at risk of harming others, and improvements to campus security programs. He said, this plan is a starting point, not an ending place. It provides strategies that can be used before the next school year begins to keep our students safe when they return to school. This plan will make our schools safer and our communities safer. His plan calls for more school marshals and for active shooter and emergency response training. So security guys aren't hiding behind stairwells or outside and not going out into the schools, basically.
Yeah.
So to prevent the threats, Abbott recommends schools be provided with more mental health training and behavioral threat assessment programs. The plan calls for a zero-tolerance policy, I'm against that, for students who commit assault, and an expansion of the list of offenses for which a student can be expelled or placed in disciplinary programs. So that's a zero-tolerance policy on students who have already committed assault. That I'm okay with. Do you know what zero-tolerance policy is?
Yeah.
Okay, like you can't do anything
wrong. Yeah.
In regards to a gun, you can point a finger, they'll expel you, basically. Abbott will ask the Texas legislature to consider a red flag law that would allow law enforcement, family members, school employees, or district attorneys to file a petition to keep guns away from potentially dangerous people after legal due process. Okay, so there's a lot more to this article. This is actually on MSN. Kind of seems pretty unbiased, to be honest with you, coming from MSN. But here it says the plan contains 40 proposals and recommendations. That's what gets me.
Yeah.
Right? Here is a Republican giving 40 ideas. And what is the left's idea? Take away the guns.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's my problem with the whole gun debate right now, is that there is no discussion to be had. There is no hearing of sides. If there's a conversation to be had, it's like Republicans are saying, listen, what about arming teachers that want to be armed?
Yeah.
What about putting retired military people or retired police officers at the head of the school? What about where there might be metal detectors? What about metal detectors? What about installing safety precautions like those locks that you could jam into the door so the doors won't even open, so a teacher can instantly do that instead of cowering in a corner or in a closet or something like that? You list out idea after idea after idea, and it's like, no, you're an idiot. We have to ban guns. That's the only solution that we have.
Yeah,
Just
and
like
the
when
NRA is
policy
bad.
raise taxes
on
anything else. They're so single lane minded. It's unbelievable.
They won't pivot, and that's why there's this gridlock in Washington. They won't pivot on any issue.
And here he's coming with 40 ideas.
Well, this is something that I've seen from this story, from you, and what you mentioned as far as ideas of what to do from students like Kyle Kashev down from in Florida. They are actually trying to do things that will help save lives.
It's Kyle and Andrew here. It's about starting a conversation. He's not trying to force anything down people's throats. He's trying to say, hey, listen, there's another opinion out there, and there's ideas to go along with that, because in the end, even we here agree that the left's motive in this is not a bad motive. Everybody cares about the same thing. They don't want to see kids dying, but we also need to be aware that taking away rights is a slippery slope. And we can't go down that road. If we both care about the same thing, we need to have an open discussion about things. And they don't want discussion. They want their way or the highway. And that's all it comes down to.
And the other thing, too, is in a lot of cases with the things that they want implemented, there really is no real, proof that that's going to solve anything.
No, not at all.
Criminals break the law that's why they're criminals. So if you put more laws in, they're just going to break them. There's plenty of exactly.
Oh, more laws to break.
Sweet. Let's see. But it's only hurting people that are law-abiding citizens.
Correct.
And there's plenty of laws on the books already that aren't even being enforced well. That there's a lot we can do to just work on that.
Anything else?
No, you guys hit it on the ball right there.
Sorry, we get on a roll sometimes.
If you need guest speakers at your next... Here's two old guys. Cart them out.
Including an African-American. So, all right. We've been talking... I don't know if you've been following this news story. He seems to be up on date. I was throwing things out before the podcast went crazy. Are you aware of what happened in Philadelphia with the Starbucks and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So... Did you see the video that I posted on the Starbucks training?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so we have a funny video to show you. I'll give credit where it's due. Apologia Studios, I guess is what it's called. And they put together a training video that Starbucks should come out with, or what it might look like behind the scenes in their cultural training day the other day. Which, by the way, before we get into this, we had talked about the other week that Starbucks was going to be closing down their stores, potentially losing millions of dollars just to go over sensitivity training and everything. Do you know what happened? They closed down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So after the breakfast rush, after that lunch rush and everything, so they're like, oh, we're going to shut down. We're really proving the point, but we got to make that money in the morning and the afternoon before we actually do that. So they knew what they were doing. And they also did it on a Monday or Tuesday after a holiday, when people were taking off from work. They knew exactly what they were doing the whole time. So let's take a look at this kind of parody on what a Starbucks training would be like.
More than 8,000 stores will close next month so that employees can receive racial sensitivity training. This after the arrest of 2 black men at one of its Philadelphia stores sparked an outcry and a call for a boycott.
All right. We desire to treat everyone equally, so let's start off with a little quizzing. Let's say a black man walks up to order a coffee. What do you do, Todd?
take his order.
Take his order? Rule number 1, never assume someone's gender. Never.
But you said he was a black man.
Yeah, I know he's a guy because I already asked him his pronoun before I called him a him. You gotta be one step ahead. That's what this takes, Todd. That's what this takes.
You asked the fictional character in your head if he was a man.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, Todd, because I need that. Because we gotta go one step higher with our sensitivity training, everybody. Take it one step up. Same question, Lisa. A black man walks in to order a coffee. What do you say?
I say, hi, welcome to Starbucks. What can I get for you?
Whoa, what's with the tone, Lisa?
What tone?
Okay, listen, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but we have to treat everyone equally. Try it again with a better tone, Lisa.
Okay. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. What can I get for you?
Okay, you might as well just call a protest yourself, Lisa. What can I get for you? I'm sorry, is he that much of an inconvenience? Like, this is the kind of stuff that's gonna get us in trouble. I bet if he was a white man, you would have just said, how can I help you?
No, I think...
No, that's the problem! Lisa, you don't think. You need to care.
I feel like you're being a little bit insensitive to Lisa.
Well, you know what? We can't afford to be sensitive in a sensitivity training. It's 2018, people. Y'all need to get woke. Dale, help me out here. What do you say?
Before I take your order, I would like to apologize on behalf of my white ancestors.
I don't see anything wrong with that. That was good. All right, let's move on to the second question. Okay, he wants a plain coffee. What do you say, Todd?
How would you like your black coffee, sir?
Whoa, 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 whoa. No, no. Do not assume that just because he's a black man that he wants black coffee.
But all of our plain coffee is black.
Oh, so now black coffee is plain? Now if you have anything black, it's just plain and boring? Is that it? You know what, Todd? If you stop eating mayonnaise all day and watching Gilmore Girls and Dawson's Creek, I bet you'd finally be able to open up your eyes and see that the world is full of exciting different colors, Todd. Okay, Lisa, go.
Ask if he wants room for cream and sugar.
All right, if I were a woman, I would throw punch you, Lisa, and wake you up from your entitlement. All right? You don't need something white to make something good. You understand that? Oh, all right, Dale, help me out here. Help me out. What do you say, Dale? What do you say?
It shouldn't have taken me this long to serve you.
He's only here for a minute, though.
No, it's been hundreds of years.
Nice flair, Dale. Nice flair. That's what I'm talking about.
Do we have to start off every order apologizing for what happened in America? I'm from Canada.
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't we just treat everybody equal?
All right, I expected to have to mansplain to Lisa over here, but not to you, Todd. Not to you. All right? Sometimes you have to treat some people special to treat everybody equal. And that's what we're doing. We're treating everybody equal.
Sometimes, when I think about what I've done to you, I become so overwhelmed with emotion,
He just pulled hair out of his beard. That can't be sanitary.
I'll tell you what's not sanitary. Not acting like Dale. Todd, do what Dale just did.
I'm not gonna do that.
No, you need to. Do it, Todd! Ah, look at that real hair. Did that hurt, Todd?
Yes, it did.
Well, welcome to the rest of the world, Todd, because the rest of the world isn't some white, privileged boy that's never gone through any hardship in his entire life.
I was kidnapped as a child.
Okay, well that's clearly devastating. I didn't recognize that, didn't know that. All right, guys, the whole point is we need to stop accidentally being racist, okay?
How?
I don't know! Let's just take his order, okay? He wants an Americano. What do you say?
Okay, so you want...
A black Americano.
No! Wrong! Wrong! That's where you're way wrong. He wants an African Americano.
Actually, that term is not politically correct. It's actually kind of racist.
What? So I'm accidentally racist? What have I become? I can't.
So
That was good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when people take those things to the nth degree just to prove the insanity. Another point that I made at the rally too was you're talking about people that have, in the younger generation, your generation, have realized that you can't not offend the easily offendable.
Yeah.
No matter
Yep.
what you do,
Yep.
having an opinion is risking being offensive
Yeah.
to anyone.
Yep.
It's just amazing that we keep on going through things. And apparently, we'll be finding some more things out about the actual Starbucks training, because I guarantee you people recorded those things.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they were not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a public company and you're making a big issue of this, why wouldn't you want that to be public on how you train them?
Yep.
So it should be interesting to actually see what comes out of that.
That whole story still is driving me nuts, even just how it's still continuing to be covered as if Starbucks did this awful thing. They did nothing wrong.
No, they actually
did
everything
nothing wrong. They repeatedly asked them to leave or buy something. They were polite before they call the cops. When they call the cops,
the manager went to the table to help them instead of having them come to the counter.
Yeah.
They called the cops. They explained it politely to the cops. The cops came. They asked them if they're going to buy anything. But it's still covered. Even The View and all these other shows are still just like the way they treated those African American. And now they changed their whole policy around now where anyone can sit or use the bathrooms at Starbucks, even if you're not buying. I just imagine the Starbucks in San Francisco.
Oh.
Flooded with vagrants.
Yep. And feces and urine.
Yep.
That's fun.
Maybe they're hoping that there won't be as much feces and urine in the streets if they can go to Starbucks to use the bathroom.
So Mike and I are movie buffs. You said you're not a big movie person or anything. Are you a sports guy?
Yeah.
Well, you play golf every day almost, you said.
Yeah.
Right?
Nice.
How about football? You into football?
Yeah, I watch it. I'm an Eagles fan, so this past year was a good year.
2 out of 3. Portuguese and Catholic. Eagles fan.
Well, I'm an Eagles fan with you there.
There we go.
So, we've been off and on throughout the past couple of years with this whole NFL kneeling controversy and everything. And I think the further we get, the more botched up the whole situation becomes.
It's such a mess.
It's so bad now. They waited so long that any action is a bad action to take. You should just let it silently die.
Yep.
If nothing else, because now they've come out and said that their new policy is that you cannot kneel.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. You can stay in the locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was actually the policy pre-2009 or 2008 or something like that, before the Department of Defense got involved and everything. They would stay in the locker rooms until the anthem was played, and then they would come out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally remember that. I always remember them standing there for the anthem.
Yep.
But maybe I just wasn't paying attention to it like that, But now they're basically talking about fines on the team and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where the libertarian in me is saying, you waited too long.
Yeah.
Now, if you showed any support to them showing their freedom of speech and idea, now you're backtracking on that and saying that they can't do that, and you're going to fine them, and it's like it's too little too late.
Yeah.
And what it really reflects is the fact that you've lost 10% of your viewers because of this.
That's the
hitting
thing.
You in the wallet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why, even though it's too late, they're still doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they have to. They don't want to risk another season of more the ratings declining more. It's at the point now where anything they do just looks bad, you said. It just doesn't make sense. So the best thing to do, would have been just let it die, like you said, or just don't televise the national anthem. Don't give the platform to the players that are kneeling, Yeah. But
that's the best point I've actually heard. I heard someone else say it. Well, I'll give you credit. Yeah.
Thanks.
But basically, the NFL has given rights to certain media groups, whoever carries those games, free reign of what they cover and everything. And it's not the NFL that's pushing the cameras onto the players that are kneeling. It's NBC, it's ABC, Fox, it's ESPN, and they're focusing on those players and showing them on the screen.
Because they want to see who's kneeling, and talk about it.
Instead of just panning over the crowd, or going to the flag, or the jets flying over, or whatever the heck else you want to show, they're focusing on the controversy at the stadium, It sucks.
Yeah, and then you have so they're going to fine players, and then you have teams like the Jets that are saying, the owner's coming out saying that he'll pay any fines. So basically saying, still come out and kneel. So this is going to just get worse.
Yeah, it's going to keep going.
Yep.
It's going to snowball. Well, now, according to the Daily Wire, NFL players are considering sitting out the season until Colin Kaepernick is signed to a team. To which I responded, there has to be a high school team out there somewhere that will sign this guy. I mean, for crying out loud. Are you... So I've admittedly, on Facebook and stuff, have said, I know nothing about Colin Kaepernick. I don't know how good of a player he is. I know if he's not making my radar as a just fan of watching football, not a statistics guy, he can't be one of the most amazing quarterbacks.
He had a few years ago. He had a really good season or two, and he was like on, But I think he was He was a backup, and then was starting. Had a really good season. Didn't they go to the Super Bowl one year?
That was after Alex Smith got hurt. He led them to the Super Bowl.
He led them to the Super Bowl.
Backup.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, he kind of declined, and he was a backup. Nothing, and it's almost like he started this whole thing, just kind of like thrust himself back into the spotlight.
Yeah.
Talk about a major backfire.
Well, not only that, he kept on talking about how the NFL is being racist and not hiring him because he's black and because of what's going on.
That makes no sense.
But at the same time, wasn't it Seattle that said, we will take you on as a quarterback if you stop the kneeling? And he said, no, I'm not going to stop the kneeling.
So it's not about race. Plus,
it's not about not taking.
Plus, explain all the other black players in the NFL. How's the NFL racist? These arguments don't hold water.
This is the same guy that just a few weeks ago turned down President Trump's offer to have a African American summit and talk about quote unquote racial inequality. He didn't want to come to the table with him, so it's clearly not about helping others and helping race issues. It was never about that. In my opinion, it was about getting attention, getting notoriety, getting his name back on the platform, because in his last year, he was 32nd out of 33 in the league in QBR. He was terrible. Terrible. Got sat out, and he said, you know what? I need to make a name for myself. That's why I think he did it. And you know what? It's a shame that some players decided to hop on the bandwagon, but you know what? They're seeing it in the ratings drop. The free market's making the decision. We're not going to buy football products. We're not going to watch it. And they're paying the price, and they're trying to recover with this policy, and it's too little too late, as you guys said.
There are many athletes throughout history that have done stupid things or done off-color things and have gotten chance after chance, but they are elite athletes. You got to be good, Colin, to be able to be the ratings risk that you are and still get another chance. And he's just not. The teams won't go, okay, well, he's worth the risk because he's so amazing, because he's not amazing.
Some people will say that, when you argue that you leave politics out of sports and everything, that you don't truly know the history of sports and politics, because of Muhammad Ali and others were political in their stances too and everything. But my point goes to, they shouldn't have been either. It's video games, movies, sports. It's our escape from reality. And instead we get more of the crap that you have to deal with daily, slung in your face, when you're just there to watch a freaking game, for crying out loud, and escape it.
I heard probably one of the best lines described about the new Solo Star Wars movie, because there's a particular character that is like overtly just social justice warrior, and the guy said, and this was brilliant, he's like, the movie at the beginning says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but I felt like I was watching the news in my living room. Like, I didn't feel like I was in a galaxy far, far away, so that's just, it's an escape. It's something we do to get rid of this stuff. And there is, being conservative and, proponents of the Constitution and the rights that we have, I do believe that, yes, I understand it when they say that, yes, celebrities have a voice too. They have every right to, voice their opinions, same as anybody else. But when it comes to sports and things like this, it's how are you doing it and where are you doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, set up a rally like on a Tuesday off day. Like, why in the middle of it, the beginning of my game, when I don't want to think about this stuff?
Not walk out of a hotel in a city that he's visiting as a player, walk out onto the street with all the paparazzi around and all the sports centers around and everything, and say, guys, I want to talk about something political for a second. and not be covered end to end on the stations like ESPN and everything.
No.
He has that platform.
Yeah.
The point is, you do it outside of work. It's the point that I made last week. I can't, in a 9-to-5 job, not my job right now because I'm an independent contractor, but you can't go into a boardroom meeting, start talking about what's going on within the company, and then slam your fist down on the table and say, guys, I want to talk about a political topic. Shut your mouths for a minute and listen to what I have to say, and not expect to have your ass thrown out on the curb and fired that day.
Correct. Yeah.
You're on the company dime at that point, and you're being paid to play sports.
Yeah.
So therein lies the difference. I posted a meme this week in regards to the NFL, which is forcing freedom on people, or the idea of not. What do we want? Free speech. How are we going to do it for forcing it or something like that? And you can't do that, But at the same time, I have my opinion. I don't think that you should shut down the free speech of an individual. But there's consequences to free speech.
Free market.
That's what people don't understand. It's the same thing as when protesters show up to a type of rally that we were at and speaking at. You can voice your opinion. But there are consequences to that. If you're arrested, if you're brought out, you can't say, oh, I have freedom of speech. I ain't yell fire in a crowded theater. Actually, no, you can yell fire in a crowded theater if there's a fire. So it's a matter of consequence and what happens with those consequences. And you can't show up to the NFL being paid for that and expect to have... Here's one of the best ways I've heard it before. What was the old online community? You would know this. Was it Engadget or there was a technology blog?
Engadget.
And they shut down the comment section for a while. And what they said was the people got pissed off because it would snowball into these political discussions on things that weren't even political, and people would be bashing each other like crazy. And they shut down the comments, and then all of a sudden people were like, excuse me, freedom of speech, and going on that rant, And one of the people in the website put it best. If I invite you over to my house as a guest, and this website is our house, and you go over into the corner of my house, in my living room, and take a crap in the corner, and leave, you're not going to come back here and expect it to still be there the next time you come here. And that's because they were deleting these foul comments and everything. He's like, you don't have the right to do that. This is our space. You have your freedom of speech, but there's consequences to it too. So it's an interesting thing. So basically, NFL players are saying that they're going to sit out this season if Kaepernick isn't signed. Who the heck cares?
No one does.
I mean, at this point,
XFL is coming in a year and a half anyway.
I know. You're breaching your contract. Stop paying them. Once you start hitting them in their pocketbooks, their tune's going to change a little.
And I mean the whole they really could have just thought more too about how they were going to protest. Why hasn't there been a shift in their I truly believe that most of the players aren't against the flag or the military, but they have to understand how people that are for the flag of the military see that as offensive. So now the hearts and minds of the people that you're trying to change on the particular subject of police brutality against minorities, you're just switching them off. Like they don't even want to hear you. So what change are you trying to implement when the people that you want to implement that change on, you're offending and just turning them away where they don't even want to hear you?
That is the point that I make all the time in regards to this, which is the arguments I get into. I say, listen, if Colin Kaepernick is protesting to send a message that there is inequality when it comes to police interactions, the justice system, and everything else, but the audience that he's protesting to, that he wants to change their mind, is seeing a disrespect for the country and the military, are you achieving your goal? No. So who needs to change? Is it the people and the way they're viewing you? Or is it your messaging?
Exactly.
You need to change your messaging, right? And to play to your point, which is about the disrespect of the military, right? If I and others see it as disrespect to the military, you can't, as a protester, say, no. It's not that I'm disrespecting the military. I have respect for the military, and I have respect for the flag and for the country, this is about these issues. And I say, well, I'm not seeing it that way. I'm seeing it as this way. You can't say, well, you can't see it that way.
Yeah.
I'm telling you to see it this way.
Yeah.
No, you don't have that choice.
Yeah.
You're two separate entities. You're trying to convince me of something. I'm not getting your messaging. Change your messaging.
Yeah. But, I'm more convinced when it comes to this, and even with the Second Amendment issues that you're dealing with at school, too, I'm almost more convinced that I don't think they want to change our minds.
No.
I think they want to spit in our face.
Yeah,
They
that's a lot of
disagree.
it.
They disagree, and they want to just call out the racist hillbillies that they disagree with and just basically spit in their face and piss them off and everything like that. Whereas what you guys are doing, you're saying, hey, here's the problem. Here's things we can do. What do you think of that? How do you think this would work? This is what we think the outcomes will be.
Yeah.
You're actually trying to have a conversation and find solutions, where they're just trying to piss the other side off.
I think Andrew brought up a point earlier that I wanted to play on real quick.
Let's
I
do
know
it.
you were about to say it, but
Yeah.
say something else. But you had talked about how Colin Kaepernick was invited to the White House
Yes.
for a black summit and refused it.
Yeah.
The same thing happened for the Parkland students.
Yeah.
They were invited to the White House, and they said, F him. We don't want to be a part of his shenanigans.
Yeah.
But the point of what you're trying to do is take the national stage and cause change at the federal level. You have the ear of the president in person, and you're turning it down.
Yeah.
That, to me, says you absolutely have no intention
There's no intention.
of actually making the change.
Exactly.
You're trying to make a point and trying to spit in the face of the president and the people that support the other idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know how much we disagree with Obamacare, right?
What?
Yeah. How much we disagree with Obamacare.
Yeah.
The respect that I would have for President Obama if he said, you know what, son? I see that you have a problem with this.
Yeah.
Let's talk. I would think that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And even if we did talk and didn't come to like really a thing, at least I was like, hey, he listened to me. I listened to him. We talked. He understands where I'm coming from. Yeah. They don't want this at all.
Yeah.
Because Trump is the enemy, and Republicans are the enemy.
Listen, why don't you come down here and we'll have a beer summit, just like we did with the police officer. That's a great thing. And then we'll also invite Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Is it all right if I bring one of this blonde ladies right behind?
Oh, God. Yeah.
But I mean, going back to the Colin Kaepernick thing, the way I would see Colin Kaepernick is a business. He's trying to sell an idea rather than a product instead.
Yeah.
Yes.
His marketing sucks. He's marketing to a group of people that support the military and are crazy patriotic. And he's doing the most unpatriotic thing you can do.
Yeah.
And how is that going to resonate with them? It's not going to resonate with them, And obviously a business would lose money doing this. If you look at him, he's losing money doing this.
Yeah.
The NFL's losing money doing this. So the way I look at it is Colin Kaepernick could be viewed as a free market idea kind of sense.
Yeah.
And he's just not performing. And as to whether or not he should have a job, it's the NFL owner's decision whether or not his performance is worth the money they're going to lose.
And also his baggage that comes along with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is his skill worth the money you're going to lose by signing him?
Yeah.
And 32 out of 32 teams are saying no.
Yep.
And that's not the team's fault. That's his fault because he won't change.
Yeah. All right, let's get into a little bit of technology. My wife sent this to me, and I think that people would see this as like a great innovation, and I see it as frightening vision of the future. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Andrew, I'll go to you. You're in school yet
Yeah.
right now. So we're talking about here a camera system in the classrooms that will watch all the students, can recognize them into a database, determine if they're happy, sad, depressed, sleeping at their desk, angry, yeah, what their emotions are, probably can read heart rates and everything like that.
Yeah.
Analyze them, put them into statistical data for the teachers and everything. As a student that's just rounding out that corner right now in your life, what do you think of that?
Oof. Wow. Not even my girlfriend can do that, so I'm not a fan of that. Stay out of my business. How about that? I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie with Shia LaBeouf. I think it's called Hawkeye or Eagle Eye. I mean, that's what that is. That is scary. Are you kidding me? I mean, I know people that tape their camera on their computers because they're scared.
I do.
There you go. I mean, whoever pitched this idea clearly has no idea what the slippery slope they just created is. And what else can this be used for? Can this be used for the government? I mean, we had NSA spying problems not too long ago. Is the NSA going to use this on us?
This is almost basically pitched back in our day with that Will Smith movie. What was that one?
Enemy of the State.
Enemy of the State. Yeah.
I mean, this is scary. It's a slippery slope. And the fact that somebody didn't stop whoever thought of this idea to create it scares me a little bit.
Some of the best ideas that turn out to be the worst for society are born of good intentions. And I think that's what this is. I think that someone in an educational field or that was sympathetic to the failing education state took a look at this and said, at the situation itself in classrooms, and said, okay, education is going downhill for everyone in the world, right? What can we do to make things better? How can we're focusing, here's a problem with modern education that I always talk about. We're focusing on the body as a whole of students when it should be on an individual basis, like this person needs help here, this person needs help here, this one's advanced, let's move them over here with these kids so that they can work together and cater to individual needs, right?
Yeah.
This program is basically taking a look and saying, Andrew, this is what's going on with him. He's happy for most of the class until the last 25 minutes. He seemed to lose his attention and he gets bored with it. So he has like a short-term attention span, whatever it may be or something like that. How can we help that? I see this being born of good intentions. Here's where I see this going, though. Okay? Calling parents down to the office, right? Listen, little Jimmy, we have seen on the program that he's depressed most of the day. We follow him from classroom to classroom. He's depressed. I think that you need to get him on an antidepressant medication. He's, at this point, high risk for possibly shooting up the school. Okay? And if you don't get him on some sort of medication right now, he's not going to be allowed back in school. Okay? You're reading my child's mental stability and using a computer program instead of actually finding out beforehand through a psychologist or something what's going on. Is that really going to give you the best data instead of talking to him first? How about this one? This is the other example that I use. Little Lisa, okay? She does really well when she's in peer groups with other females. But every time those football players walk into the room, we have a hormone detector or a pheromone detector now in the system too. Her pheromones shoot through the roof. She's guy crazy, She's distracted by these guys. Her grades have been going down. We think that we need to send her to a private school for girls. Like, where does this stop? Categorizing students into different things and analyzing what you need to be doing with your kids and splitting them up into all these little groups.
Exactly.
That's scary as hell to me.
It's a slippery slope, and I mean, Hillary Clinton, she's probably a supporter of this because she said it's the government's job to raise the kids first, parents second.
Takes a village.
Yep. I mean, this right here, this is what I believe, whether they recognize it or not, this is pure left-wing liberal ideology twisted into a product. And the fact that you're selling the government an opportunity to read people's minds and see what's going on in them and telling your parents how to parent, basically controlling people, That's scary.
Yeah. So I just realized that whole video was not describing anything. So on the audio portion, you're just hearing music. So basically what we're looking at here is a video system in the classroom that can read all these emotions of people. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. My personal opinion on this is it's better suited to turn that camera around and face it at the teachers that are indoctrinating these students in the classroom.
Yeah, sure.
And actually hold them accountable.
Yeah.
I'm sympathetic to teachers, okay? I think that there's many great teachers out there that deserve more pay, okay? But I see a problem with the pay system too, and that's an imbalance that we can never get straight.
Yeah.
We've tried that. I tried that when I was on the board. There are certainly teachers that need to get paid more. There's certainly teachers that should never have anything to do with students at all.
Yeah.
But they're protected by the teachers' unions, right? But at the same time, we talk about this all the time, teaching down that middle of the road, not giving your opinion, challenging students to come up with their own opinion. Here's why this side feels this way. Here's the pros and cons. Here's why this side feels this way. Here are the pros and cons. You can't tell what I'm thinking right now. Where do you fall? Support your thesis on that by actually describing and supporting it using your own evidence that you find and how you came to that conclusion. And then grade them based on how well they did that, whether they have an opposing opinion or not.
Yeah.
But instead, Andrew here is saying, as a student right now, that is not the way it goes to school. It wasn't the way it was in our school either, but it wasn't as blatant as I think it is now. I think teachers get more and more freedom when you see things in the media where it's open season to give your opinion and teach that as fact.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big problem with, school districts now is there's too much protection. Whether it's the school district itself getting protection through funds of the state, not being entered in a free market, or whether it's the teachers getting protection from a union. No student or parent can make the choice and say, listen, I don't like what you're giving me. You're going to get hit in the pocketbook with that.
Yep.
There is not that choice. That choice isn't there. And that's why you're seeing this free range, it's safe to say this unloathing freedom that these teachers have to throw their opinion out there and just let it all out. There's no repercussion for them.
Yeah, they're protected.
They're protected, and that's why you're seeing it. And it's especially happening at college campuses now. Because nowadays, college is practically required. It's basically a culture thing. The culture believes, college is required. So because college is quote unquote required, you're seeing teachers who are getting funds through government as well. They are willing to do what they want because they know their job is protected. They know that they won't get hit in the pocketbook. They know they won't lose their job. They're protected. And because of that, you are still going to see what's going on. And it might even get worse because, as we know, it's going to trickle. Somebody's going to say this and it's going to keep going maybe left, or even some cases right. And I think unless we install an opportunity for parents and students to say, you know what, you're going to get hit financially, you're going to get called out on this, you're going to lose your job, it's going to keep on happening.
Anything else?
No.
Here's my challenge and advice to you.
Go ahead.
Okay, going into college.
Yeah.
I stood up a couple times politically to my professors, and it actually went awesome because they didn't have a response in front of hundreds of students.
Good.
Okay. But I wish I had done it more. But I was afraid of where it would hit me grade-wise, even though I didn't have good grades. But maybe that's why I was more afraid. I was on the edge of I was on the edge of failure as it was. I didn't want to be pushed over into it. But I would make as many connections as you possibly can with people like me, other people within the media, and challenge those professors when they say blatantly false things.
Oh, yeah.
And make a point of it and take those grades that you get based on their opinion versus your opinion and say, listen, I'm going to blow this up on the internet with these people that I know unless you change this and grade me based on my ability to argue my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually doing an essay on media coverage of like murder cases, things like that. It was an English essay. And I mentioned Michael Brown. And in that I said, the officer Darren Wilson, he was basically pushed by the media as the guilty one. Mm-hmm. And the teacher in the rough draft wrote a little note saying, where is the evidence? And I kindly said, the Obama Justice Department is your evidence. And I think it's things like that. If that wasn't a rough draft, how would that have gotten graded? You know,
Yep.
would I have lost points because that's my political viewpoint and that's not yours? That I don't know, and that's what scares me. You know, I don't know how far the slope is going to be taken. That doesn't mean I'm not going to stop saying stuff, because I always say stuff. I don't care. But I think a lot of students are afraid to speak out because of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was an article sent to me by someone that's actually participating in the comments right now, Kevin. So thank you, Kevin. It says, AMI smart meter politics. Can Pennsylvania pass into law an opt-out bill that was just introduced? It says, ever since the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission erroneously believed, as confirmed in PAPUC Office of Communications Dave Hickson's March 22nd, 2017 letter to Thomas A. McCrary, and wrote implementation regulations for AMI smart meters, which actually was written as an opt-in bill for electric, natural gas, and water utilities, passed and signed as opt-in legislation. Pennsylvanians have suffered much harassment, inundation, and even poor health for themselves and their families as a result, with no apparent relief in sight. So it says, here is an example from utility PECO's hardball tactics for a customer who wants to get off the grid. It says in the article, of the headline is, PECO built a hook Chestnut Man's solar array into grid, cost him $45,000 for PECO to hook him up into the grid. Okay, so Andrew, are you familiar with what smart meters are in California, let's say?
That not quite, no.
Okay, so utilities and what you get into your home, California specifically has introduced mandatory smart meters in your home
For electric outputs, right?
for what you do in your home.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you can only turn your air conditioner to a certain amount, so you're not wasting electricity. You can only turn your heat to a certain amount, and it's mandated by the government that you stay within zones.
So rationing.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah, rationing energy. Yeah. So basically, it seems like they're trying to do that here by strong-arming Pennsylvanians into doing it under threat of different things.
Yeah.
You know, I know that if you were to have solar energy, a windmill, or anything like that, and you're feeding back into the grid, and you use less energy than the output of the actual device, and that electric gets fed back into the grid, the energy companies will actually end up paying you. So it almost seems like they're being threatened right now by alternative energy.
Yeah.
That they're going to have to pay customers that should be paying them instead for going off the grid and everything.
Yeah.
And what was supposed to be an opt-in bill is having issues.
It's more like an opt-out.
Yeah, exactly. So Kevin's point here was that people need to start looking into this more, especially if you live in Pennsylvania. Start looking into what's going on with that specifically, sign petitions, get out there and actually start fighting against this stuff and making the right decision, because in the end, smart meters are anything but.
Yeah.
Right? It's a matter of controlling your life. Listen, if you want to pay more for more heat or more air conditioning, it's coming out of your wallet. What the hell is the government or the energy company have to do with it?
Yeah.
You got a communist meter attached to your house now. Pretty much.
Oh my word.
God.
So look into that a little bit more. You ready?
Here we go.
Andrew lit up. He's like, I see Roseanne.
Yeah.
So, okay, Roseanne was canceled this week by ABC and canceled the reruns and everything Roseanne related.
Just being wiped off the face of entertainment.
Who is that?
Yeah.
Like the Avengers.
Yeah.
Well, they canceled it.
Yeah.
ABC has canceled Roseanne following a Roseanne Barr tweet that suggested former Obama White House advisor Valerie Jarrett was a product of the Muslim Brotherhood and the Planet of the Apes. Okay.
If only she trained at Starbucks, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, right.
Seriously. Channing Dungey, president of ABC Entertainment, released the following statement. Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values, and we have decided to cancel her show. Hulu and Laugh Comedy Channel said Tuesday they were pulling reruns of Roseanne from their schedules. Before the announcement, Barr apologized to Jarrett for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. The tweet was deleted, and she said she is leaving Twitter.
She's had like 200 tweets since.
Yeah, she has tweeted since she said she would leave, but
she said, On Tuesday night, Barr returned to Twitter to apologize again and leave a message for her fans. Don't feel sorry for me, guys. I just want to apologize to the hundreds of people and wonderful writers, all liberal, and talented actors who lost their jobs on my show due to my stupid tweet. I will be on Joe Rogan's podcast on Friday. So, thoughts on what she said?
So what she said was disgusting, obviously.
Yep.
Nobody's going to disagree with that. It is ABC's decision as to whether or not they feel as if she needs to be fired. One thing I do find funny, though, the same people that say, you know, Colin Kaepernick's out here supporting free speech, why can't he have his job? Are the same people that are saying, if Roseanne's on, we're boycotting you. She's not supposed to have a job. You know, so there is a huge double standard.
Oh, not only is there a double standard, but right within what you just said there, Kaepernick is doing it on the job. She's doing it in her free time.
On her own time, yeah. And then you go into what Samantha Bee did last night.
That was
2 nights ago,
So
whatever it was.
Samantha Bee called Ivanka Trump the C word.
A feckless C word.
Feckless C word, yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, you have Samantha Bee on a scripted show.
Writers, producers, everybody gets
right
through.
down to the network itself.
Yep.
Everyone had approval before that thing aired.
No Ambien involved.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that too.
Yeah.
But essentially, there's such a huge double standard in the industry. But we have to be careful as on our side to not be hypocrites as well and say Roseanne shouldn't have been fired, but Samantha Bee, Joy Behar, and all these other people should be fired.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think it comes back to a whole ratings thing. You know, Joy Reid also had disgusting tweets not too long ago.
Yep.
I mean, her job was saved because the network thought, you know, she will be fine. We will make money off this. This is worth the risk, and we will make money off this. ABC thought with the Roseanne tweet, they will not be making money off this. So they made a free market decision to let her go. That I'm okay with. That I understand.
Yeah.
What I am not okay with is it's happening on the right, is this celebrity worshiping.
Yep.
You know, we hate it when Hollywood gets in our faces and say, you know, middle America, you don't know how you're living right. We're living right. That's not how to live. Things like that. So why are we glorifying the same Hollywood people, the same people that we say don't have a higher ground on us? Why are we giving them that higher ground? Even if they maybe lean right, why are we giving them that higher ground? Why are we saying, yeah, it only applies to left-wingers? That's a double standard, and that's a slippery slope. We've seen it with Roseanne. We're seeing it with Kanye West. We're seeing it with Kim Kardashian yesterday. It's scary, and I caution conservatives, do not celebrity worship. Just because they make more money than you and they're more famous than you does not mean that their morals are better than yours. It does not mean they have a better high ground than you.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, but to just kind of, I think, point out why a little bit.
That's where I was going to
is if it was like 60-40, 60% liberal, 40% Republican.
95.
Yeah. But it's so lopsided.
Yeah.
And we hate it. Like, I think the reason that we are like celebrities get off your soapboxes because it's so lopsided. And then when you get that one, you're like, there's one. Tim Allen, Roseanne. You know, so I totally get it. You want to not be hypocritical and things like that, because then they throw it back in your face. Oh, well, you always say celebrities should shut up, but they're right. But it's hard to not kind of like give a golf clap.
Yeah.
When it's so one-sided that when one little thing just kind of pops up on the right, you want to latch onto it and celebrate it and support it. But as far as Roseanne, you know, when things are done on your own time, I almost think no one should ever be fired, and the free market should dictate what happens from there on out.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just the way, the best way the things will work. But private companies do have the right to do whatever they want to do as well. So you're in this kind of like limbo of what's the right thing to do.
The corporations are responding to the bullying of people like David Hogg, who is calling on people to go after and attack and bully sponsors.
That's like his thing.
Yeah,
that's all he's been doing lately with multiple different
Laura
things.
Ingraham.
Well, Laura Ingraham was the start. When he saw that worked, I've seen him go and there was a supermarket. Did you hear about this?
Publix,
Yeah, the supermarket where they had the die-in, you know, and it's all about okay, they're supporting something, boycott, you know. And, you know, as much as we hate them, Bill Maher is heavily against boycotts, you know, because he
spotlighted those two in the beginning, Cameron Cassidy and David Hogg. Yeah. And he set them straight one time. He's like, I don't believe in that stuff. But then he was like praising them up and down. Oh,
yeah, sure.
You guys are so enlightened as high schoolers.
Yeah, they do follow the same party line that he does. But when they called for the boycott on Laura Ingraham, he said, hey, I don't agree with this at all, you know. So it's
Bill Maher was taken off of a show called Politically Incorrect for being politically incorrect.
I know, right? Yeah.
Out loud,
yep. So.
You know? And he's guilty of this stuff all the time, and he falls under these situations. He knows what it feels like. He realizes how wrong it is for speaking your opinion. Again, if you're going to be a supporter of the First Amendment right against the Second Amendment, to call for the Fourth Amendment for the government to just take your property. Like, they're so screwed up on their amendments and what they support and what they don't support, for crying out loud. Yeah. You know?
And the purpose of the First Amendment is to give you the freedom to say offensive stuff.
Yes.
Because if no one ever said offensive things, there would be no reason to have a First Amendment, because everything would be safe anyway.
Yeah, there's no progression in culture without offensive nature.
Yep. So.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's the whole situation going on with Roseanne. Now, Roseanne, for her part, had blamed her rant about Planet of the Apes on taking Ambien.
I even think that got overly twisted as well. You know, when you read what she said, she kind of like jokingly said, I'm on Ambien.
Well, here's what she said. She said, guys, I did something unforgivable, so do not defend me. It was 2 a.m. and I was Ambien tweeting. It was Memorial Day 2. I went too far and do not want it defended. It was egregious, indefensible. Yeah. I made a mistake. I wish I hadn't, but don't defend it, please. So I don't see that as too much of a joke. I think she probably does have it. Let's go back here for a second.
Yeah.
So no. I will go over this real quick because I don't want to get too far off topic and then have to go back into it. Sanofi is how you say it?
Yeah.
Is the maker of Ambien.
Yeah.
And they tweeted, people of all races, religions, and nationalities work at Sanofi every day to improve the lives of people around the world. While all pharmaceutical treatments have side effects, racism is not a known side effect of any Sanofi medication.
You know what? That's a good zinger. But the next day I watched the Philip DeFranco show and he covered this.
Yeah.
And he brought up that tweet. And then he did say, but if you go on their website and you look up the side effects of Ambien, there is like a 2 to 3 sentence blurb that he posted up, like exactly what it was, saying that it could make you act not like yourself, you know, and like this whole thing that's on their website as a side effect of Ambien. and even he was like, just saying, you know.
What is this though? Is this them joking about this, or is this just good marketing?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Good marketing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's them coming out and saying, listen, don't tie us up in this. You want to be racist? Don't blame it on something else. You know, and someone on radio made a great point. It's like how before social media you had the opportunity to throw out something without having to go on a multi-million-dollar marketing campaign, like the David Koresh or whatever, or the Davidians or whatever, all that stuff was from the cults on the Kool-Aid. Well, how do you think Kool-Aid felt about all that?
Right. Yeah. They are forever linked with don't drink the Kool-Aid.
So it's like you can't do that.
No, drink the Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid's fine.
Oh yeah. You know, like busting the walls and crap. But so here, I want to jump back though to Roseanne and who she is.
Oh yeah.
And Kanye West. We're talking about celebrity worshiping and going back to what Andrew was talking about. Kanye West is the one that got up on stage and said, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Yeah, with Katrina.
He believes that the government was responsible for 9/11. Isn't he the one that believes that?
I don't remember.
He says all this crazy stuff, right? But the second he says that Candace Owens, he likes the way that she thinks.
That's the craziest of all.
Then he's jumped off the deep end. Roseanne, for her part, and we were talking about this earlier, she's not conservative.
Yeah, she's not.
Yeah.
It is asinine for these conservatives out there to start defending her just because she's a pro-Trump character on TV, when in the past she ran for president as a socialist Marxist.
Yeah.
Her running mate was Cindy Sheehan of the whole like blood on the hands, getting up in people's faces and for George Bush and going to war in Iraq because her son died as a soldier over there, protesting events and everything.
Yeah.
This woman is off her rocker. She believes in 9/11 conspiracies on George Bush doing it. She has said that people on Wall Street that make over $1 million should give back anything over $1 million, and that we need to bring back the guillotines for those that don't do it and actually literally chop off their heads. This is coming. She's like socialist anarchist.
Yeah.
Okay, she's nowhere near conservative. She likes Trump for some of the things that she does, but I got into a conversation with my buddy, who I talk politics all the time with, and Beck was talking about this on his radio show, and I'm listening to it, and I get this phone call, and he interrupted it, and he's like, "What the hell is Beck talking about right now? He's so wrong on this whole issue, and we need to." I forget what his point was. I said, "Listen, you're getting it wrong here. Okay, what Beck is saying, and I completely agree with, is we need to, as conservatives, stand on morals and principles, not on characters.
Exactly.
Right? Not your character, yes. Characters, no.
Yep.
And if we are going to be responsible when it comes to things, if you're against Kanye and the crazy crap that comes out of his and Roseanne's mouth before they step onto this platform that seems conservative, you need to take things on a situational basis, because otherwise you're tying yourself to an anchor that when they throw themselves into the ocean and go deep down with some conspiratorial, crazy asinine comments, you're going with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to take that road of support, you got to go full force. So it's all a situational basis. Is she right on free speech? Yeah, but it should come down to the company, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is she right about other things? Heck no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kanye West is nuts. Okay, he's a pop culture icon that has political influence that reflects in the 11% to 20 or 22% or wherever the heck it went to for the black population, switching conservative or at least some political views and everything. But you have to stand on morals and principles alone and follow those according to who's speaking and say, listen, either A, I didn't support him before, but here they're actually doing something right for once. Mm-hmm. Kanye, he shouldn't be bashed because he's saying this about a celebrity or someone that's in the spotlight right now. Or the other way around, hey, I support this person, but what they just said is bat crap crazy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You need to go on a situational basis, not just follow the character itself.
Yep.
Yeah. And, I mean, just to touch up on Kanye, if you actually go on his Twitter, which is what started this whole thing, he follows 3 people. Candace Owens, his wife, and this one's going to shock you, Emma Gonzalez.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, only 3 people?
Only 3 people. Yep.
Get out.
Those are the 3. Which, how do you go from Candace Owens to Emma Gonzalez of Parkland, Florida?
Well, a smart individual would be well-rounded in knowing what the arguments are on both sides and everything. But she doesn't have any arguments.
Oh yeah, and he's posted pictures of Emma calling him his hero, things like that.
Really?
Yeah, and he's shown. Actually, he posted a picture of his recent Google searches. There was people like Tommy Lahren was there, but he also had left wingers like who's the lady with the Women's March, the Muslim lady.
Oh, I forget her name.
I know, yeah.
She was the one that
Linda Sarsour.
Yeah,
she was on there.
The genital mutilation is okay with her.
Yeah, the Hamas lover. Yeah, her. I mean, we have to be careful with who we're supporting. The fact that conservatives are willing to go full bore, fight to the death for these people without knowing these people's background, it's scary, and it could be a political trap. We ought to be careful with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she supports Trump as a character on TV.
Yeah.
She's friends with him in real life, but that is far from the way she actually feels politically.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. Oh, okay. According to IGN, ABC is reportedly also looking into a Roseanne spinoff. You watch Roseanne, right?
I was watching it, yeah.
Okay, so besides her being a Trump supporter, what are the other characters? I know that the one son,
the sister,
is a transgender kid.
Well, he said he feels like a boy. He said he feels like a boy inside. She straight up asks him, "Do you feel like a boy or a girl?" And he says, "A boy." He just likes. I don't know. I don't even know.
He likes to dress a little feminine, right?
Yeah. He likes the colors. He likes the things.
Scottish, I can understand.
Yeah.
The airflow possibilities.
Of a nice kilt. Yeah. But so yeah, her sister Jackie is a crazy left winger, and she's actually portrayed as crazy, which is kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, like she goes around telling everyone that now she's not a police officer anymore. She's now a life coach. She's like, I'm a life coach. Do you need a life coach?
What would you say? Do you watch it?
No, I do not.
I have no interest.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I know who Roseanne is. So even as a Trump supporter on the show, I'm like, I just don't trust it.
It is what it is. It's acting.
Yeah. And it's vile.
Yeah.
Not that I don't watch vile things.
Yeah.
I mean,
some of the best things are vile.
That is true. That is true.
By the way, we have Deadpool 2 review coming out sometime soon.
Good.
But so in regards to that, though, it's what would you say?
I know what you're getting at. Like all the other characters are liberal, so what's the bend of the show overall?
Yeah.
I will honestly say they do really portray things kind of down the middle. Because it's her and Dan,
Dan's a lefter, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well,
he hates Trump in real life.
Oh yeah, in real life, yeah. But as far as the show, like being a conservative, I never felt like, oh, here we go, Yeah. If anything, I've always kind of felt like they kind of pointed out more joking at the crazy liberals.
Okay.
Take
Roseanne out of the situation.
Yeah.
Where's the show going to go with a spinoff?
Yes. I agree completely.
So it's going to be all about transgenders, crazy left wingers, and they're going to hope that's going to do well because ABC's taking a stand with a liberal bent. They fired Roseanne, who's a racist that they're tying to the Conservative Party just based on her being friends with Trump, even though she has a socialist agenda in real life.
Yep.
Right? That's one thing that they're really tying to conservatives is that Roseanne's conservative. Not the case.
Yeah,
right?
no.
So they're going to go off on their own little tangent here with a spinoff. It's going to fail miserably. Because who was watching Roseanne?
More the people in the middle of the country. Yeah. More conservative people that felt like they finally had a show that at least acknowledged without making fun of how they feel.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what I feel like the show did. And also same as with Last Man Standing too.
Yeah. I just found this article on HuffPost. This is from circa 2006 by Bob Seska. What's the headline read there?
Bush looks an awful lot like a monkey. Something tells me Bob Seska didn't get banished from everything.
No. You know what Bill Maher and Kathy Griffin both said about President Trump?
Looks like a monkey.
Looks like what?
A baboon?
An orangutan.
Oh.
Orangutan.
Yeah.
Oh, the orange monkeys.
Yes.
Yeah, the orange ones.
Yeah. Which orange is his color of skin. That's a little racist as well. So, of course...
And Roseanne's tweet was disgusting and wrong and everything. Yeah. But have you seen the pictures of her next to a Planet of the Apes character?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, she's not coming out of nowhere.
Oh, man.
I am accepting applications for a co-host. He's like, I'm trying to get out of here.
I've been trying to find a way out. So.
Every single.
No, but you know what though? It's more the haircut than anything. Like she does, like her haircut looks like the haircut of like the main character from I think the 2000 the Mark Wahlberg one.
Yeah.
Listen, facts don't care about your feelings, folks.
So here's we're going to keep on going with it. On Louder with Crowder, it says Sarah Sanders blasts the media for Roseanne hypocrisy. I didn't get the video on this, but basically Sarah Sanders was asked about why Trump would come out and defend Roseanne, right? Mm-hmm. And why he wouldn't be commenting on, or no, he went after ABC. Why wouldn't he be commenting on Roseanne's tweet specifically?
Right.
Yeah. So she had something to say to him. I got to give it to Sarah Sanders. she has balls.
Yeah, she's good.
Okay, and I don't mean that in a bad way. That woman has balls.
Yeah.
If you want to have an example of a woman that is a leader in a women's movement of sorts,
Oh, yeah.
that is, she's a leader right
Yeah.
there. It says, and so was, I met her, Dana.
Dana Lash.
No, well, Dana Lash, obviously.
Dana Perino?
Perino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met her. She only comes up to like here on me. She's very short, but she's awesome.
Yeah.
And her husband's really awesome too. The president is pointing to the hypocrisy in the media, saying that the most horrible things about this president, and nobody addresses it. Where was Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Iger's apology to the White House staff for Jameel Hill calling the president and anyone associated with him a white supremacist? To Christians around the world for Joy Behar calling Christianity a mental illness? Where was the apology for Kathy Griffin going on a profane rant against the president on The View after a photo showed her holding President Trump's decapitated head? And where was the apology from Bob Iger for ESPN hiring Keith Olbermann after his numerous expletive-laced tweets attacking the president as a Nazi and even expanding his role after that attack against the president's family? That was not a written statement. She just rattled that right off. Like, because we know what's going on in the media.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, the way I look at it is, number one, once again, I always go back to the free market. It's the free market's choice. You know, if there's an audience that feels, yeah, I don't mind watching this person because he said that, I don't mind it at all, then let it be. If Bob Iger feels, you know what, I don't need an apology, I'll still make the money I want to make, let it be. If he feels as if maybe an apology will lose money, although I don't think that's possible, let it be. I don't think President Trump, I think he should be very careful with how he words, how he feels about certain people.
That's not going to go well.
Yeah, of course it won't.
Very careful with how he words.
Yeah.
I have great words.
Yeah.
The best words.
The best.
I mean, I do feel like, though, he's going down a slippery slope. Once he starts saying...
He's always going down a slippery slope.
That is true.
But people love it.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
and I feel once he starts saying things to the extent like, Samantha Bee, why isn't she fired yet? You know, you got to be careful. You're the president of the United States. It is not your job to dictate whether or not somebody should be fired. And once again,
you can point out the hypocrisy.
Even though he made his whole career on saying, you're fired.
Yeah. Sure, I don't mind. But yeah, I don't mind pointing out the hypocrisy. What I do have a problem with is a government official saying,
yes,
I don't like your opinion. I don't like what you're saying. Get out.
Yeah.
I mean,
a conservative stance is the government shouldn't be interfering with the personal affairs of people.
Yep. And I think it's a very slippery slope. And I think a few years from now, God forbid a Democrat gets in the white Oval Office, we'll have the same situation, and we'll have to call them out on them.
Yeah.
And we will have to call them out on it. And they're going to hit us with the same question. You didn't do it for Trump. Why are you doing it now?
Yeah.
So we have to be careful with that. And I think when it comes to it, Trump, he has a point with hypocrisy, but he has to be careful with the wording, and he has to be careful of how he attacks these people, and whether or not he says they should be gone, get them out, things like that. You could obviously have an opinion, but don't openly advocate for getting them out of their job. That's a very dangerous and slippery slope.
So while we're on the topic of social media, Twitter, stuff like that, being used as a bully pulpit for people to go after businesses, organizations, people, to get them fired and ruin people, I have this story for you too. There was a video released online. Let's take a look at it first before we actually get to the story.
Okay, well, let me just talk about this place. So, for example, let me just get the name of this so everyone can see this. So, I walk up into the location on Alberta, trying to get some dessert from this vegan place. And even though I'm still in the store right now, 2 white women is in front of me, and they said, like, oh, I'm sorry, we're only serving them. And that was going to be the last people that they're going to serve.
As I thought that was?
That is weird.
What the fuck was that?
So I'm going to put this on Facebook, and I'm going to blast their ass because I think it's inappropriate for me to be in the store, in line, the door's not locked, and they refuse to serve me after I'm in line. So they can live that life, but they about to get all blasted on Facebook about this shit. Yeah.
This is this woman's account. Have you heard of this story yet?
I heard of it, but now this is the first time seeing the video.
Okay, so you've heard of it. Have you?
I haven't heard of it, no.
So I want to go with you then, okay? You haven't heard what this actual whole story is. Based on what she has said,
Yep.
what are your feelings on what happened to her?
All right, so I'm highly skeptical that this is how things actually went down, but assuming they are, I feel that if she was in the store before the doors were locked, she should have been served. And if the doors are locked at closing time or while she was walking up, if she wasn't in yet and the doors were locked and it is past the time of closing, then tough. But if she was in there, like she claims to have been, then she should have been, anybody else in the store should have been served and then closed after that. That's my opinion.
You on board?
If it's Starbucks, you don't have to be served at all. You can just stay and hang out.
First off, just personal opinion, you went wrong going with the vegan dessert there.
Yeah.
Let's be real with that. Another thing, though, I think this is another point where we're going to get at, are businesses entitled to serve people? Once you start saying, you have to serve this person, that means they're entitled to it. The fact that this lady thinks she deserves or is already earned this product, that's basically the mental capacity of slavery. It's the same thing that slave owners did. They thought they owned and they deserved what African Americans or slaves were giving. We have to be careful with that slope. We're seeing it in the healthcare industry now. We're seeing what the government's saying. Yes, government healthcare worker, you have to give this to this person. They deserve it. It is their entitlement. So it's the same thing with the baking the cake situation.
Yep.
Are we going to force the people to bake the cake? Are you going to force this company to serve the ice cream? And I think the government has no role in it. And I think, once again, free market. Somebody sees this video, they form their opinion. You don't want the ice cream anymore, or that vegan ice cream, although I don't think people really eat vegan ice cream. Don't go eat vegan ice cream there. Go somewhere else.
Is that what it is? Vegan ice cream?
What the
heck is vegan ice cream?
It's made with soy milk instead of like regular milk or something like that.
Men get breasts from that.
Yeah, I know, right? But I will say, there's a place near our house called Vegan Treats. That's like a whole dessert place and everything, and they have one freaking ice cream that is out of this world.
Just one.
Just one. When they,
hey,
whatever.
Liberal out of them.
Listen, whatever. I'm being honest. They cycle. They only have 2 flavors at a time, and it only comes maybe once a month. They are here, and then the cup is right down the road on Linden Street.
The cup's good.
The cup is amazing. It's a Bethlehem Dairy Company.
Okay.
We go to the cup. Only when they have speculoos, which is like a graham cracker cookie like flavor, do we go there, and it is awesome. Not a hypocrite, folks.
Okay, back to this.
Forgive my Planet of the Apes joke.
Here's what the story. Here's how the actual story goes. Amid news of an Oregon bar paying people of color $10 for a no whites allowed reparations happy hour, Portland's back to Eden Bakery, which is hosting a June 20th happy hour, is making headlines of its own. This is all according to The Blaze. You see, Oregon Live added in its report that Back to Eden Bakery is where a black woman was kicked out earlier this month by a pair of employees who have since been fired. Okay. So what happened? Bakery owner John Blomgren detailed in a lengthy, now deleted Facebook post that a black woman, since identified as Lillian Green on May 10th, chose to patron our bakery for the first time, trusting that our company is who it pretends to be, and was denied service while the room is filled with white people getting served their vegan treats without incident. He then added a minute-by-minute surveillance video account. Okay, so there's video, and he goes through it. While the bakery's closing time is 9 p.m., we were unusually busy at 9:02 p.m. and most of the seats were filled, and there were 4 people in line waiting to be served. Adding that a minute later, an employee turned off the bakery's open sign. So that's at 9:03. At 9:04, 2 more white women walk in and line up to be served. At this point, the customers present are informed that we are officially closed. At 9:06 p.m., Lillian enters and stands in line to be served. He also noted that she assumed Back to Eden Bakery was still open given how many people are still inside and the doors are unlocked. But Lillian is told we are closed, and the last 2 women in line are the last to be served. After that, she exits the building and begins to take her video, which is what we just got done seeing. Okay? he also added, walking into an establishment that visibly prides itself on its intersectional progressive politics. You take pride in that, buddy.
Yeah.
Only to be denied service while all the white people inside are being served has to feel horrible just in itself. Prejudicial treatment is a reality for black and brown people that none of us can ignore. It may hurt us right now to be having this conversation, but that pales in comparison to the hurt that people of color endure now and have endured for centuries. So this is the guy that's literally saying, before I serve you, I have to apologize.
And he created a Starbucks.
Yeah.
And here's the hilarious thing. The bakery down the street owned by the capitalist, the evil capitalist, would have said, hey, you know what? The door was unlocked. Come on in. We'll take your money.
Yeah.
And now we'll lock the door.
Capitalist would be like, as long as there's people in
business, baby.
I'm open, I'll send the employees home. I'll just serve one at a time. I don't care.
If he was Portuguese, he'd be working all night.
Yeah,
people were coming
in. So here's what's wrong. You and I locked eyes immediately on what was wrong in this. What was the first thing that was wrong?
Well, the idiot employee turned off the open sign but didn't lock the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So does it fall on this woman being wrong in this situation completely?
No.
Not at all.
It doesn't. So she lined up with other people and the door wasn't locked. We've worked in retail. As soon as you close,
we were at that door at 8.
Are you kidding me?
We were at that door at 8:59 and 43 seconds, 44, 45.
Yep. And then you unlock it for individuals to let them out.
Yep.
And you and I both know the crazies show up a minute or two afterwards and start pounding on that glass.
Yeah.
Why won't you let me in? There's people inside there. I can see people inside there. Why? And you know, where we were working, they thought it was racist.
I'm sure.
But they're knocking. We had the gates down on the sides and everything, and they're pounding. What are they doing in there? And then you go to unlock to let people out, and they're like trying to scramble to get in. It gets crazy.
Yep.
But that is the only way to control the crowd.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like they made the mistake in not locking the doors and controlling it with one of the employees saying, "Hey guys, listen, we're closed. People seem to be still coming in here and everything. We're going to take this on a case-by-case thing. When you're ready to go, just let me know. I'm going to let you out, okay? Because I can't let any more people in." And
I think
they screwed up.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that a lot of people are missing in the story is the assumption that was made. Okay, you did not get your food because you were black. Okay, you maybe just got your food because, like you said, it was closed and you didn't realize it. Not because you were African American. And the owner is now caving to the customer and saying, yeah, it was because she was black. So are you now admittingly saying that employee that got fired, those two, God forbid their names get out, are racist? Is that what you're now saying?
Yeah.
And that's what he's implying. And that is what also the lady's implying. So I think we have to be careful with that assumption. It's clearly just a general mistake. I mean, when I work at my jobs, we make our doors open even after close. Somebody comes in, we have to tell them, sorry, we're closed. Bye. Yeah. I mean, God forbid these people are found out that you're the guy that was the racist at the vegan ice cream place. Their lives are ruined.
If that gets on the internet at all.
Their lives are ruined. Yeah.
Yeah. But on top of that, it goes to my bigger point, which has been my bigger point for over a year now. She made an assumption that this was about the color of her skin and then blasted it on social media to shame a business and bully them into losing money. And that's what we have come to is instead of
David Hogg effect.
Yeah. Instead of reaching out to management and saying, hey, what the heck is going on? Like, why am I not getting served? It's immediate to, screw this place. I'm going to blast them on social media. I'm going to shame them out of existence and put them out of business. Because F that. This is the only reason that they could be not serving me is because of this.
Yeah.
And that goes along with almost everything that happens in media today.
Yeah.
With the faux Trump attack stories of supporters attacking people, and it turns out to be fake and everything. No one waits for the facts. This woman couldn't wait for the facts from a manager or the employees themselves or ask them, what's going on? Did she ask them, well, why are these two women still in line? They would have said, they got here before closing time, And we have to cut it off. Like, you can responsibly say that as an employee. We say it all the time. Listen, I understand that you need to do something, that you want something here, but we close at 9 o'clock. These people were here before 9 o'clock, and we have to shut it down sometime, or else it's going to be an endless flow into the store, and we got to go home. We have lives too. Sorry.
And we open tomorrow at 10, and we will be happy to serve you then.
Come right on in. I'll even let you in at 9:59.
Yeah, right.
I mean, another thing that was kind of odd to me. All right, so you get turned down at the store. Your first thing is whip out your phone. If I was told, it's
an agenda.
Yeah, if I thought, maybe I should have got the food that I wanted, I would say, excuse me, can I just speak to a manager real quick? Where's that in this whole thing?
Yeah.
Where is, excuse me, can I talk to somebody, maybe just explain what happened, maybe I can get served? I'm pretty sure that if this lady said what she decided to say on that stupid camera and post it to the manager, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it all comes about, like you said, an agenda. And people seeing this particular thing, and they flip out over the race card.
One of my most popular videos on YouTube was a segment that we did on the Portland, Oregon store that was selling the Confederate flag rug, and the Portland Liberal that melted down because it triggered her, and she went out and thought like it was a violent trigger against her, and she was crying in the parking lot.
People were coming over like, everything?
Oh my gosh, you have to see it.
It's so funny.
Is it really?
Yeah.
She's like freaking out, crying that they are selling a Confederate flag rug.
Really?
Not even that they're like waving it at her. It was hanging as an example of what they could buy, and she was so triggered by it, she left crying.
Yeah, to the point where weren't people coming up to her in the parking lot like, "Are you okay?" And she's like explaining it to them. The phone is like pointing at the street, and all you hear is, "Oh, they have this rug," and they're just like, "Oh," and just continue on with their lives.
Well, you have fun with that.
Yeah,
it's insane. So, here's what's wrong with this whole situation. They should have closed the doors. They should have explained to her why the other customers were getting served.
Yeah.
These two employees did nothing wrong besides not locking the doors. Should not have been fired. Okay? Because if any of this gets on the internet, their lives are ruined.
Yeah.
This owner is wrong for not backing up a policy of his, and instead, like Andrew said, turning it into a racial situation when it actually wasn't. Okay?
Yeah.
This woman is wrong for blasting this on social media without further investigating it before she did so. Okay? So there's a lot of people wrong in this case. The situation itself, though, wasn't anything wrong.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've also I don't know if this is defending the owner at all, but we've created this environment now where people's livelihoods are destroyed.
Yeah.
You're at the point now where you don't want, backing up your policy. You don't even want to risk it. You don't even want to bother. When you look at whether it's vegan or not, small business. So this is a person who invested, and this is his livelihood. He doesn't work for someone else. If this thing crashes, it's all on him. So it's like, I don't want to be the bakery that's not serving people, because we've created this society, especially with social media, how fast we can throw things on Facebook and Instagram and it goes viral, where it just ruins people.
Look at it this way: small business, I believe the number is 90% fail.
Yeah, already.
In the first 2 years.
Restaurants.
Yeah.
Small.
So that 10% that survive have to deal with a massive amount of federal and state and local regulations that keep on getting forced on them by the local, state, and federal governments that no one had to deal with when they came over here on ships from our like Italy for my grandparents and everything, Portugal for your people, and Africa and whatnot. But they didn't have to deal with that. They came over here with the clothes on their back and a couple things in a suitcase, and literally came to Jersey and started their lives and built empires because there was no constraint, there was no red tape, and it was truly the land of the free where American dreams could come true. And now that American dream is strangled by red tape, right? And then on top of that red tape, the 10% that do survive those first 2 years have to deal with the insane population that's going to drag them through the mud for any misconception that's out there. It's insane.
I mean, look at it now. I mean, now at that store, you think it's 9:02 or 9:06, whatever, and they see an African American coming, you think they're going to let them in because they're an African American and they don't want another one?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think if a white person were walking through that door, you think they'd be like, all right, we can close the door on her. She's white. She won't claim racism. But African American comes in, they're going to do that. They're going to say, look, African American, let her in. We don't want it. We don't want to be known. Yeah.
So what does that do? Is that equality? It's the exact line that I said to you guys that, okay, so they couldn't hear what we were saying during the Starbucks parody training video and everything. But I thought the best line in that was, we have to treat some people special in order for everyone to be equal. It was the best line in there. So is this point for equality? Do we have to treat certain people special for equality? It doesn't make any sense. That's an oxymoron of a statement.
It's not justice.
And a moronic statement.
Right. It's not justice. It's social justice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's basically what my generation, the millennials, even some of your generation, that's what we're running on. Social justice.
Yeah. This goes all the way back to affirmative action. It goes to, the new wave of feminism, where the only feminism is by pushing men down. You know, this is exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and how funny is it that this crazy stuff is happening to Starbucks and vegan restaurants, like the most progressive, because they eat themselves.
Yeah.
They paint themselves into this corner where, okay, if I want to back up,
not even carnivores.
Yeah, I know, right? If I want to back up what I've been spouting, I have to cave to the same people that I am that are just a tad more extreme than me.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
And that's a great point, because I think what we're seeing in society today is the fact that all these crazy progressive leftist tactics, they're like, this is perfect. This is how we get the right. This is how we shut them down. And then it happens to them and they're like, holy crap, that's not supposed to happen to me.
And then they apologize and they apologize and they apologize. And what's the worst thing you can do? It's apologize. When it happens to the conservative restaurant, when the vegans are outside protesting, they start carving up the meat in the window. They're not apologizing. They're saying, screw you.
And have you heard anything more on that?
Nope. No, it was just a hilarious video.
It was one of the
And I'm sure that business is probably thriving way more. You know?
Antler, wasn't it? Antler or something?
Go to Antler.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another one of my favorites. So we, was it last week we covered, well, you weren't here. You haven't been here for like 2 weeks or something, right?
Well, I think 2 weeks ago we were off, right? Didn't you take a week off there and there?
I don't know.
I forget.
But were we talking about MS-13 at all? I think that was me by myself.
Yeah, I think so.
So essentially, the media misrepresented what Trump said in regards to a reporter asking a question, what's going on with MS-13? How can we control this whole thing? And then the media starts their coverage from that point on. And he's saying, these people are animals. We're doing everything that we can to control them from coming into the border and across the border. And when they do get in here, we take these animals back and try to control them as much as possible. And they turn this into an immigrant narrative that all immigrants are animals.
Who was the one that sent out the tweet? I think it was a Hispanic lady. Was it Ana Navarro? Someone was like saying that you can never call someone an animal, blah, 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 but then they went into her Twitter for like 6 months ago and she called Trump an animal. Like literally. Oh yeah.
But basically,
so funny.
You had Hillary Clinton came out and did this whole spiel about positive gangs.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. Never heard of that.
There are some good gangs.
Like I said, the algebra gang.
Yeah.
You know,
book club.
Yeah, they're called clubs, not gangs.
You had Nancy Pelosi, who we're going to get to in a second here, say that there's a spark of divinity in every individual and that you need to see this. And then you had John Legend, who him and his wife are both bat crap crazy, right? You're talking about his wife, Chrissy Teigen, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Who talked about they bashed Trump constantly. She said that the Trump administration should pay for her dental bills because he causes her to grind her teeth at night.
Yeah.
Grind it down, and that she needs dental attention that he should pay for because of that. That's how crazy this woman is, right? So then you have all these people talking about and defending now the MS-13 gang. This is what's going on in the country right now. You have, as these people, you have taken the position so hard against Trump that you have to be by your standard, this is okay. So this is perfect. This feeds back into my argument about the tying an anchor to your foot and following characters, right?
Yep.
This is almost the exact opposite, but the same in the same way.
Yep.
You are tying yourself to an anchor of being anti-Trump, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what he does, even if he's right on a situation, you have to be against him to get the narrative out there and get people to support you that you're still anti-Trump, good for you and everything. Now they're defending a gang that their slogan is to rape and dismember people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And say that there's a spark of divinity in these people.
It's unreal.
That's the position that you're taking because you're so anti-Trump.
Yep.
I mean, Adam Schiff. Look at Adam Schiff yesterday on ABC. He said it's time to get Trump and his bums out of office. So, people that don't agree with you are bums. But people that rape, kill, cut off people's heads, cut off every body part you could think of, are not animals.
Yeah.
They're loving people who are just trying to start maybe something like a book club. I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous.
They have no platform. It's all whatever Trump says. Don't agree with.
Yep.
That's why nothing's.
No matter the cost.
Yeah. I mean, Trump wanted to get something done on infrastructure. That's not going to get done. They don't want to get.
Talk about one of the most amazing policies later on the main topic about is the right to try or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yep.
How can you be against that?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know. So we'll talk about that, but let's get to what Nancy Pelosi actually said about MS-13.
Old chattering denture box herself.
But since you brought up the subject of immigration again, it reminds me that, and as I was talking about the religious groups and how they're concerned about feeding the hungry and the Gospel of Matthew and the rest, 41 million people in our country are food insecure. We believe, some of us who are attracted to the political arena, to government and public service, that we're all God's children. There's a spark of divinity in every person on earth, and that we all have to recognize that as we respect the dignity and worth of every person, and as we recognize our responsibilities with that spark of divinity within us. And so when the President of the United States says about undocumented immigrants, these aren't people, these are animals, you have to wonder, does he not believe in the spark of divinity, the dignity and worth of every person? These are not people, these are animals. The President of the United States. Every day that you think you've seen it all, along comes another manifestation of why their policies are so inhumane and why we have to continue the debate, striving for bipartisanship with openness about what is at stake and what the choices are, and to be unifying in every way possible. Calling people animals is not a good thing. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh! So I didn't listen to that clip that far into it, but after bashing him for going against the MS-13 gang and calling them animals, then she starts calling for bipartisanship and unification. After bashing him, well, where the hell is your effort on that end?
Yep.
Hitler must be an angel to her. I mean,
that we're all created in God's image. Says the demon. By the way, I don't know if you saw last week's podcast with all the mumbling and like just crazy like staring off into nowhere stuff that Nancy Pelosi did.
She's unreal with that.
Oh, she's lost it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was saying too that apparently there's word on the street in D.C. is that the pharmacist that takes care of Congress says that there is.
No. I was just
says
pitching.
that he prescribes Alzheimer's medication to members of Congress. He won't say who, but wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
if there isn't a reason for term limits,
I think we could put it together.
Yeah,
we know who some of those are.
I'm no Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think I've dialed in on the clues here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unbelievable.
A lot of them are for California.
Yeah.
So she says all this about the spark of divinity in people, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Republicans have come out with a new ad against the Democrats.
This should be good.
Using her own words. So let's take a look at that.
When the President of the United States says, these aren't people, these are animals, you have to wonder, does he not believe in the spark of divinity, the dignity and worth of every person. We're all God's children. There's a spark of divinity in every person.
We're talking about MS-13. Their motto is rape, torture, kill.
The victim was stabbed more than 100 times, decapitated, dismembered, and his heart was cut out of his chest and then thrown into a pre-dug grave.
The two young men shown here kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and shot a 15-year-old girl, sacrificing her in the name of Satan.
U.S. Marshals say the El Salvador native shot and killed a person in Texas, put the body in the trunk of a car, and lit it on fire. They say that's typical of the MS-13 gang.
Calling people animals is not a good thing.
Listen, I don't believe that the Republicans do much good or anything right at all lately.
Yeah.
But damn.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. They're not so bad.
Not so bad. Spark of divinity.
That is when, listen, the Republicans, they always have their message thrown back in their face. You know what I mean? And we've gotten used to seeing, was it the Romney election or was it the McCain election, where they showed the Democrats put together a political campaign ad where a Republican politician was like catering to a granny in a wheelchair and then just threw her off a cliff. Do you remember that?
It sounds familiar. Like I vaguely remember.
It was about them being against Obama, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This is the imagery that they're showing.
Oh yeah.
Use her own words against her.
Yeah.
Like she deserves this. At this point, when you tie yourself to that anchor, you're gonna go down with it. That's all that's gotta happen.
I mean, I just want her to run for president, really. Like, please.
Unfortunately, I think we're gonna get Elizabeth Warren to run on that one. So.
Oh, I'm happy with that. She'll lose.
But you have so little faith in your generation and everything.
Here's
to go back to that.
Go ahead.
Just real quick. People do change once they get a job.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We've seen it. You know?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. So how about this? Just real quick going over it. Another thing we talked about. We talked about a couple things pretty quickly before the podcast started and everything. But we talked about, what was it that I compared to North Korea and kicking the can down the road?
The embassy, Israel.
Israel embassy, right. That the fact that Trump got that done, right, was so different from other presidents because all the other presidents have this kick the can down the road mentality where they say something in their political messaging and campaigning and everything, and they're like, let's take Israel, for example. We're going to set the Israeli embassy as Jerusalem, and we're going to say that that's the capital. They run on that promise. They get in the office. Hey, guys, I tried my hardest to do it and everything. They kick the can down the road. They put up a show. I did try, but no one supported me on this. And, hey, you got to give me credit for at least trying, right? And then they kick the can down the road. Trump got it done in the first year of office, for crying out loud. He actually has stood up and lived up to the majority of his campaign promises in the first freaking year. He's not like, hey, if you elect me again, I'll get these things done. He's like, I'm getting this crap done the first year because they're going to try to get me as much as possible anyway. You know? But the same thing happened for North Korea, right? Yeah. So all these presidents have been dealing with these bat crap crazy dictators in North Korea where we talk about all the time. You can see the concentration camps from Google satellite images, you know, and the fact that you're dealing with these crazy people and they never get anywhere. They threaten. You have like people like Assad with Obama, where he's like, I'm drawing a line in the sand, a red line in the sand, and he crosses it. He's like, okay, that's it. I'm drawing another red line in the sand. Like it's always a line to be crossed for the Democrats and everything. But the Bushes didn't do anything about North Korea. The Clintons didn't do anything about North Korea. The Obamas didn't do anything about North Korea. They kept kicking the can down the road. The next person will have to deal with it. And if I could just make it to the end of my term limit here of being president without any incident from them, as long as they're just talking crazy and not actually launching missiles out into the ocean at Guam and the west coast of the United States and Hawaii, I'm going to be okay. It'll be the next person's problem, right? So they kick the can down the road. Trump actually gets them to agree to a summit, okay? And the media goes silent.
Yep.
Okay? No one's talking about it. Because what's more important? Stormy Daniels and Russia.
Yep.
Okay?
Of course, come on.
The bull crap that's going on,
Yeah.
right? So, no word.
Yeah.
Then things fall apart. Kim Jong-un
Then it blows
Are
up.
we on ill or on?
Un.
Yeah. Doesn't like what's going on with the messaging from the U.S. on him being denuclearized and everything, and pulls out of the summit. Okay? All of a sudden, the media is interested in it again now.
Yeah.
Because now Trump has failed
Yep.
on what he was promising to deliver, which was at least bringing North Korea to the table.
Correct.
So now he's a failure. This has to be Trump's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now Kim Jong-un was originally going to do it. It has
Yeah.
to be Trump's fault.
Yeah. Forget that he got us farther than anyone
other president.
ever.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he got us that far, anyone with a brain would know, okay, this is still has a chance to fall apart just because there's a psychopath in North Korea.
Yeah. And I mean, just look at the messaging. Trump announces June 12th. Democrats, slow down. This is way too quick. There's no way. No way, North Korea. Okay, I decided to call off the meeting. You want to start nuclear war? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? So that plays into what we were talking about, the anti-Trump message. No matter what he does, they don't like it. And you know what? I honestly think, especially with the past few weeks, the American people are starting to realize it.
Oh, absolutely.
And just in time for 2018, we'll see it in the polls and voting.
Yep.
But here's the crazy part. I haven't even finished. They go nuts blaming Trump for this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And now the summit's back on again.
It's back on as of this afternoon.
He's brought it back for a second
And that's
time.
because I really think that when Kim Jong-un pulled out of it, he responded perfectly. He didn't grovel and be like, oh, no, let's try. He was like, you know what? Fine. And if you want to play with nukes, we got bigger nukes. You know? Because that is what worked to get us this far anyway.
Well, you have to also understand, too, there's a lot of economic
sanctions
China.
and things like that. Yep.
That's the big one
if
here.
you put the pressure on China, and listen, this is your frenemy over there and everything. You have the ability to get him back to the table. And by the way, I kind of don't like the tariff situation that we're dealing with as it is anyway.
Correct.
So we're going to impose these even harsher on you because you need the American people buying all your crap. Everything over here is China made, right? We're going to put these on you. Get this creep back to the table for us, okay? And this is all going on behind the scenes. And then you also have what you're talking about. And it goes into the point of sometimes it takes a bully to get a bully to the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Trump...
Well, we were always taught, how do you really stop a bully, is to stand up to them.
Punch them in the nose.
Yeah.
Or launch a nuke at their nose. I don't know, you know?
So.
Or call them short and fat.
Yeah. Rocket Man.
So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Oh, I totally forgot about this topic. So this is something that I want you guys, anybody listening or watching, to get involved in, especially if you're a religious person. It's the headline here on the Washington Post is: a federal court upholds ruling that a cross-shaped monument on public land in Maryland is unconstitutional. Okay. So it says a federal appeals court is standing by a ruling that calls for the removal or destruction of a large cross-shaped monument on public land that has towered over a busy Maryland intersection for nearly 100 years. In a closely divided vote, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit refused to reconsider an earlier decision that found government funding for the 40-foot-tall memorial in Prince George's County an unconstitutional endorsement of religion. The 8-6 vote drew passionate dissents from several judges and could end up before the Supreme Court, which has not provided clear guidance about displays of religion on government land. Supporters of the Peace Cross, who say it is a secular tribute to local men killed in World War I, vowed to appeal. So it says that the cross was built in 1925 with money from local families and the American Legion. A plaque lists the name of 49 Prince George County's veterans and includes the words valor, endurance, courage, and devotion. The Park and Planning Commission took control of the land in 1961 because of its location at the intersection of U.S. Route 1 and Maryland Route 450 in Bladensburg, according to the state agency. So here's what happened. The mothers of 49 soldiers got money together, actually got I think it was Secretary of Defense, to come out and unveil this monument shortly after World War I in tribute to these local men that did this. And it was at the Legion's property. And that property was taken over through eminent domain for a local interstate, and then ends up as public property. Okay, so it was on private property, ended up as public property through eminent domain, not because of a selling situation or anything like that. It's, again, the government forcing itself into a situation, right, to make room for, hey, we got to do what we got to do. We're going to take a land. Screw it. You know, what else? What are we going to do? Like, can't go anywhere else with this road. You know? So then it comes down to in 1961 or something like that, they talk about that eminent domain basically is taken over for this. And now you have people arguing that because it has become public land, that this memorial shouldn't be there. One person even suggested just chopping off the arms of the cross and leaving it as a monument like that. This was paid for by the mothers of the people, the men that didn't return from World War I.
This is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgusting. So you have organization, First Liberty, right now, actually fighting the courts and getting together a petition for people to actually sign this because of how ridiculous this is. So I would actually encourage you to go to firstliberty.org/memorial what's that? Hyphen. Petition, okay? Or at least search for Bladensburg's Last Stand and sign this petition, because this is asinine and ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, this needs to be saved.
Yeah.
Okay, this is honoring 49 local men to that area that didn't return, whose mothers paid for this memorial, and by no fault of the property that was there, taken over by government. So you can't sit there and say the separation of church and state, that you can't put church property or church-like symbols on public property and then be okay with government taking over private property where a display of a Christian thing exists. You're a hypocrite in that situation.
I mean, God forbid the Trump administration put a interstate highway next to a mosque and said you have to rip that mosque down. Oh, that would be challenged in the courts. Holy cow. I mean, it's the same standard here. And once again, obviously, the fact that the government didn't even pay for this monument, it technically, I don't even know if it's owned. You could make that argument. It's owned by the government. And I think one thing you have to look at for eminent domain, was there proper reimbursement? Because it does require some reimbursement.
For the land.
Correct. And what I would personally do if I were in this situation, I were that organization, I would gather some money and see if I could bid for that property off the government. I don't know. I would obviously look at the exact location of it, see what I can do. But that could also be a opportunity just to buy that property.
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, they talk about if they can't win this in court, they talk about destroying it. There needs to be an organization that steps up to the plate and says, we have property that this can go on in the town. You know, put it on our property because this is ridiculous.
And there has to be a point where, especially something that's almost 100 years old, I feel like it's so easy now to just dismantle and destroy history. Right? We've talked about it before.
You have to rewrite a narrative.
And we've talked about it before in high schools, teaching World War II without ever mentioning Hitler. You know, like and now this, it's just like at what point do we let history be history and remember things that have been there for that long? And you know, that's crazy. What you should probably do is maybe throw copy the link into a comment on the Facebook video and put it in the description of the YouTube video, just so people can just click on it and go over.
Done. There you go. Follow that. Hit like on that comment, by the way, if you do sign that petition, because or the heart symbol. There you go. If you sign the petition, because I think that's very important if you stand for religious freedom.
And we can kind of keep track of how many signatures we contributed.
Yeah, absolutely. How about this?
This is fun.
Did you hear about this already?
I saw the headline today, like on the way here, but I didn't read it.
Because of me, or
it might have been. Might have been going through my Facebook.
There's a congressional candidate, according to Yahoo News. Someone sent me a text message and said, "Oh, now you're posting fake news. Who's a conservative?" I was like, "Oh crap, I made a mistake." And he said, "I don't know if it's fake or not, but this can't be real." And I said, if it's not real, please do the research for me real quick because I'm getting ready for this podcast. I just need to know if it's real. He goes, finds it, it's real. A congressional candidate in Virginia admits he's a pedophile. Okay? Even worse than that. It gets so much worse as you read it. Have you guys read through the actual article?
No, I have not.
No, keep going.
So he's not even going with was a pedophile?
No, he still is.
Yeah. Nathan Larson, a 37-year-old accountant from Charlottesville, Virginia. Well, what do you know? Charlottesville's back in the news. Is running for Congress as an independent candidate in his native state. He is also a pedophile, and he admitted to HuffPost on Thursday, who has bragged in website posts about raping his late ex-wife. Okay. All right. Going deeper down the rabbit hole.
Real winner here.
Yeah. In a phone call, Larson confirmed that he created the now defunct website .org.
Sweephead?
I don't know. And chat rooms that served as gathering places for pedophile and violence-minded misogynists like himself. They traced back the IP address for these forums back to his computer, as well as his campaign site, so they knew it's the same thing. On the phone, he was open about his pedophilia and seemingly unfazed about his long odds of obtaining government office. See if this sounds familiar on what he's trying to run on right now. A lot of people are tired of political correctness and being constrained by it. People prefer when there's an outsider who doesn't have anything to lose and is willing to say what's on a lot of people's minds. He's trying to ride a Trump wave here.
Yep.
Okay? When asked whether he's a pedophile or just writes about pedophilia, he said, "It's a mix of both. When people go over the top, there's a grain of truth to what they say." Asked whether there was a grain of truth in his essay about father-daughter incest and another about raping his ex-wife repeatedly, he said yes, offering that plenty of women have rape fantasies. According to Larson, so my friend, you're reading through this, you're thinking to yourself, this has to be a fake article. Like this is how insane this sounds.
The Onion could have made this.
The Onion. That's what I was trying to think of what the name of the website is. In a manifesto, Larson called Nazi leader Adolf Hitler a white supremacist hero. He urged, by the way, what does Nazi stand for?
It's a National Socialist.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, so weird.
They try to, and Google, did I put that in here? I didn't put that in here. So in California, when they looked for a Republican candidate out there, Google under related terms to the Republican candidate put Nazi under there.
Yeah.
What in National Socialist Party it all resembles Republican Party?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It has socialist within the meaning of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, back to this. He urged Congress to repeal the violent. He urged Congress to repeal the Violence Against Women Act, adding, "We need to switch to a system that classifies women as property, initially of their fathers and later their husbands." He also showed sympathy for... He sounds like a Muslim, or I'm sorry, an Islamic.
Yeah.
Okay? He's also showed sympathy for men who identify as involuntary celibates or incels, suggesting it is unfair that they are forced to pay taxes for schools, welfare, and other support for other men's children. Well, I mean, in that case, I don't know. Anyway, using synonyms for this stuff, like, I don't even know where the heck these terms are coming from. So it says, Larson wrote numerous posts endorsing child rape and other forms of sexual abuse. He said, "Why doesn't every pedo, just focus on making money so they can get a pedo wife and then either impregnate her with some F-toys or adopt some F-toys?" So F-toys is referring to children, by the way.
Lovely.
Okay? he wrote on a platform in October, that would accommodate both those who are and aren't into incest. And of course, the adoption process lets you pick a boy or a girl.
Guys, are you seeing the spark of divinity? Is it shining through?
Look, one of the things I said, one of the things I said is, it's been said for years now. Eventually, these people that we keep on saying, like Obama, he's a socialist, right? There's going to come a time when they just outright, they keep on saying, I'm not a socialist, I'm a progressive liberal.
Yeah.
And we've been saying for years, there's going to come a time when they just outright say, yeah, I'm a socialist.
Yeah, we're almost there. Bernie Sanders is a democratic socialist, whatever that is.
We've blown past it. Now it's, I'm a pedophile, so what?
Yeah.
We've blown past that stage. Like, this is how bad society
Incest pedophile.
Yes.
God.
That rapes his wife.
Yeah.
Not for
I mean, if you have to rape her.
Is it
she's
really your wife?
Yeah.
Is it really your wife? Come on now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Not for anything, though. If you look at his policy prescription, just going to put this out there, requires a lot of government implementation. So he's a big government fan. So I think the Republican Party...
Which, by the way, when you look at the Charlottesville situation between Antifa and the neo-Nazis, both of those groups advocate for larger government, which is far from any conservative values.
Correct.
Which is exactly why I say, first of all, there was a guy, and he was just interviewed. He went to that rally, and he also went to a Ku Klux Klan rally in another state at another time, and said everyone that he saw there was in Charlottesville. Okay? What he's saying there is, this is a small group of idiots that just show up to these events.
Yeah.
Right? And as far as the neo-Nazis are concerned, right? That's it. That's them. When you're talking about neo-Nazi, white supremacist a-holes in our society that seemingly show up as these mass groups, you're seeing them there. That's
very
they're
little.
all there.
Yeah.
That's it. That small group of people is it.
Yeah.
They do not represent the far right. The Antifa does not represent the people on the left, right? These are a bunch of idiots fighting themselves, which, quite frankly, the non-Christian part of me says, just wipe each other out. I don't even care. Just take each other out so you don't represent anyone, and there's no mistaking it. And
we'll have one of them left standing.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
And then MSNBC, they'll cover the Nazis like there's millions and millions and millions of them, and Fox News will cover the Antifa like there's millions, and then all the people in the middle are thinking everyone on the right is Nazi and everyone on the left is anti, and it's crazy.
So this guy, I don't even know what. What do you say about him?
He's not an animal.
Yeah,
he's not.
Not an animal.
No, he's not into bestiality.
No, not into
one thing that's not on his platform.
Yeah, right.
To support,
as far as we know.
As far as we know,
People have heard goats screaming next door. Okay, so let me just check time on here. Okay, we're gonna have to go over this pretty quickly.
Let's do it.
Everything. And Ohio, this is according to The Blaze, an Ohio mother shares a heartbreaking story of a hospital's alleged refusal to save her premature babies.
Right.
So I want to read through this because I think it's really important. It says an Ohio hospital allegedly refused to provide medical assistance to premature twins who were born at 22 weeks and 5 days gestation, despite their mother's cries for help, according to PJ Media. Last year, the mother, known only as Amanda F., was rushed to Riverside Methodist Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, after she began bleeding. At that point, she was 22 weeks and 2 days pregnant, and she feared she was suffering a miscarriage. Doctors admitted her to the hospital on June 24th, and staff reportedly informed her that the babies were 3 days shy of viability and warned that doctors wouldn't intervene if she didn't make it 3 more days. 3 days later, on June 27th, the tiny babies were born alive. Okay? That's very important, and it goes even deeper than that. Their mother begged the staff to send the neonatal intensive care unit team to try and save her boys, but they denied medical attention, claiming that the babies were too early to survive. I pleaded with nurses and other hospital staff to help try to save my babies. I was told that they would not survive. I asked if they would at minimum assess the babies after they were born to determine possibility of survival. I was informed that NICU would not assess the twins and that the babies would probably be stillborn or at best breathe for a moment. So what actually did happen? While Amanda was in labor, her mother, who was present during the births, asked when the NICU teams would arrive. The staff told her mother that the babies were coming too early and that NICU would not be present for the birth and that no effort would be made to help the twins. No staff was present when Emery, the first twin, arrived. Amanda, the mother, said he landed on the edge of the bed. Amanda's mother demanded help at the nurse's station. A NICU doctor came to the room, wrapped the baby in a blanket, put him under a warming lamp, and opened his mouth. In the video, Amanda can be seen holding her little baby boy and speaking softly to him. You guys are going to save him, right? You can hear her talking to the medical staff. Promise me they're going to save him. Look at him. Please save him, she begged. Emery, what did we say about breathing? He'll only breathe for a moment, if anything. Worst, best case scenario. Emery lived for 45 minutes breathing on his own without help from hospital equipment. A couple hours later, Elliot was delivered by a doctor. He not only breathed, but he also cried at 22 weeks. So don't tell me that these fetuses are just fetuses, that they don't feel anything, that they're not actual babies, when at 22 weeks outside of the womb, they're crying.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Still no NICU and no interventions to try and save Amanda's baby. She kept on talking to him. Hi, mommy tried. Elliot died 2.5 hours later after he was born. The first one lived for 45 minutes. The second one lived for 2.5 hours. Shortly after her twin's death, Amanda was given stillbirth discharge papers and sent home. What the hell is happening in our country? This is the most vile, disgusting act I've seen in a very long time. We've been covering Charlie Gard over in the UK and Alfie Evans and what happened with them being denied a second opinion, being denied secondary care and everything. And we keep on saying, this stuff, this crap happens here in the United States. You just don't realize it. It's not covered. It's happening here. You hear stories about from pro-life people that work at hospitals that will tell you that when an abortion goes bad and the baby is born in a Planned Parenthood or something like that, or in a hospital where they do the abortion, and it's born alive, they'll stick it in a closet and wait for it to die. This is horror stuff. This is absolutely horrendous that we have. Where's the Hippocratic Oath in this whole thing?
It's nowhere.
It's nowhere to be seen. It's amazing to me that we have these. I keep on going back to the fact that we do not have a healthcare problem in this country. Our healthcare is top of the line across the board. We come up with the majority, not all, the majority of medications that go out. We do the research. We come up with these things. We have the best care in the best care in the world. People leave other countries to come here for our care, and they pay for it out of pocket because of how great the care is. We have an insurance problem in this country, and that's why people don't get the kind of care that they need, right? And Obamacare sure as hell didn't fix that. Right? Because people are bounced around. They sure as heck didn't keep their doctor like they were promised, right? Here we have a woman that actually wants her babies. They're born alive. They're told that they're not going to live past one breath. They live for 45 minutes, 2.5 hours. We have the technology. Like the Bionic Man to save these kids, put them into scientific situations where we can actually, at 22 weeks, keep them in a NICU unit and save these kids. And this hospital denied them care. I don't know what else to say about that. I can't believe that this is happening in America. You would expect it from the UK with the asinine stuff that they do over there with their healthcare system, but in the US?
It's crazy that the pedophile politician was not the most horrific story that we went over tonight. Right? like what is happening? What is happening? Like, The fact that we went over the pedophile politician raping his wife to put F toys into her, and then 5 minutes later you're like, this is the most horrific thing I've ever seen, and it's true.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a world right now, a society where these women that believe in pro-choice don't want their babies, and it's okay, you can kill them. Okay? But this woman wanted these babies.
Yeah, she didn't have her choice.
She didn't have the choice.
Yeah.
They didn't give her the choice.
Yep.
The choice that she wanted of all the damn things.
So they go for pro-choice unless your choice is that you want to save your babies.
Because this comes down to
it makes their argument not work.
Yes, and it comes down to the fact that
it's just a clump of cells.
Yeah, absolutely, that too. But it also comes back to the death panel, right? Situation, what supposedly doesn't exist, where in the UK we're seeing them value the life of an 18-year-old to 45-year-old over anyone less than 18 or over the age of 45, because you either haven't lived long enough or you lived too long, and those organs could be better put to use between that 18 to 45-year-old section, of people. And in this case, this was a Methodist hospital.
Yeah. I thought I was thinking that when you were reading it.
And on top of that, you have a situation where was I going with this? Because it's a money situation.
Yeah.
This comes down to the fact that they even said before they denied the care, you have to make it 3 more days. If you make it 3 more days, we can save these babies. She makes it 3 more days, and they're nowhere to be seen. So what does this come down to? It comes down to they don't want to invest in life to save these lives, because it's going to be a tremendous cost to keep them alive until they're viable on their own, to be breathing on their own for good. And that is a disgusting display of where our healthcare system is headed.
Yep. Right. Yep.
When you flood the system with people, you have to make sacrifices. And in this case, we're seeing what those sacrifices are.
Right. And in healthcare, this is what I usually say. There's 3 things in healthcare you can get, but you can only get 2 of them at the same time. Quality, affordability, and universality. Right now, we're starting to grow a little bit in the universality, but we're losing the quality.
Yeah.
And that quality is getting lost right there.
Yep.
And you see it in, for example, my grandmother was living in Portugal. Healthcare system there is terrible. Terrible. They have cancer patients literally smoking outside the hospital there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Very, it's disgusting. And
it's kind of their choice, though.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Understood, but you figure somebody would caution them, but
like the government.
Get that out of your mouth. Yeah. But as I was saying, the quality, it's terrible over there. And people keep saying, it's great. What it is rationing of resources based on how healthy you look to the government. Yeah. That's what it is.
Actually, it's the value that you can contribute to your society.
Correct.
Yeah.
And to me, that's disgusting. And if the left can correct me if I'm wrong, that's prejudice.
Yeah.
And who's stopping a racist doctor from saying statistically African Americans don't help as much in our society? Should we just kill all of them, or should we deny them healthcare coverage? Because they are less fit in society according to statistics. So I think that healthcare system right now, the government shouldn't get involved. I'm a little upset, especially, this is the problem I have with the Republican Party. We're pitching repeal Obamacare, we'll lower premiums, repeal it.
Yep.
Trump gets in January, comes June. Let's try repeal and replace. The replace part's a bit scary because you're still admitting, as conservatives, yes, the government should be in healthcare. That takes free market out of play, and that essentially is admitting the government should be in healthcare.
Yeah.
And I think that it's once again another slippery slope, and I feel as if the free market should just take over like it did beforehand. The healthcare system was fine, and
no, actually, there's things that can be put in place. Competition breeds better healthcare.
Correct.
Just open up the borders
between states, things like that.
Which is what Trump said during the campaign.
Yeah.
That was one of those primary things on healthcare.
Maybe
it's
still
down
it's
down the pike.
Second year.
He's ticking them off. He can't do everything the first year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He already got rid of the individual mandate.
Yeah, he also announced, trying to bring the prices down of prescription medicine.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get there. Borders might be next.
Yeah.
Which borders?
The state. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we're gonna bring down the state borders, and we're gonna make Mexico pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Our healthcare too. Okay, so we're kind of running low on time here. We got about 10 more minutes to discuss this. Here's a headline. According to Fox News, I try not to pull from Fox News because I know I'm going to get hit with, well, of course it's Fox News.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I try as hard as I can to stay away from it. But this is awesome. This is probably one of my favorite articles of this year, to be honest with you.
Right.
But it's written by Brooke Singman, a woman, and we're not misogynists.
It says Trump signs the right to try and says it will save tremendous number of lives. Of course he says tremendous.
Tremendous.
President Trump on Wednesday signed into law a bill that would allow those with potentially terminal diseases to try experimental treatments and bypass the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The so-called Right to Try Act of 2017, sponsored by Senator Ron Johnson, the Republican of Wisconsin, unanimously passed the Senate last August and cleared the House last week on a party line vote of 250 to 169, in a win for both Johnson and the Trump administration. Today, I'm proud to keep another promise to the American people as I sign the Right to Try legislation into law. We are going to be saving tremendous numbers of lives. The president said the issue is very personal for him. As I proudly sign this bill, thousands of terminally ill Americans will have the help, the hope, and the fighting chance, and I think it's going to be better than chance. And I think it's going to be better than chance. that they will be cured, that they will be helped, that they will be able to be with their families for a long time, or maybe just for a longer time. But we're able to give them the absolute best we have at this current moment, at this current second. We're going to help a lot of people. It's an honor to be signing this. So, without going into all the details of the article, basically here's what is going to happen. You're terminally ill. You are given a certain amount of time. You're in Charlie Gard's case and in Alfie Evans' case and everything, they were denied even getting a second opinion.
Right.
They were denied getting second treatment by another country or anything like that, right? In this case, you can get those things. You can try experimental drugs, right? I'm sure there's going to be waivers involved, right?
Yeah.
But what's the worst that happens? You're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you may actually, okay, the worst that could happen is you experience a worse death.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to try,
Yeah.
that's what America is built upon.
Give it a
is the
shot.
freedom.
Correct.
Yep.
Right? I mean, here we have, and you may not know this, but I'm a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, if I was told that I only had 4 months to live, but listen, the Kansas Institute out west is trying these really great experimental treatments where they send nanobots into your bloodstream and wrap those cancer cells in gold foil and then use a heat gun over you, and you literally have no side effects, and it melts the cancer cells. But they're just in a testing phase right now. You know, you might want to contact them to see if you could be one of their guinea pigs. I'd be like, sign me up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me do it.
Yep.
You know? What's the worst that can happen besides a little bit more pain? But you bring it on yourself. This is, when in doubt, err on the side of freedom.
Yeah.
Yep.
That applies to everything we're talking about. When in doubt, err on the side of freedom. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is the biggest story
Yeah.
that's going tonight.
Yeah.
It's the biggest.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Anything you have to say?
No, I mean, I mean, obviously, this is great news for anyone that's going through, for family members, and even people that try experimental drugs or procedures. Even if it doesn't work, if the researchers can learn something from that case to tweak it to make it work, you died kind of like helping others. You know, like there's nothing bad about this except maybe that Trump did it, so that's why all the Democrats will hate
and that's why they're going to be against it.
Yep.
What an animal.
I know. What an animal.
The one other thing I would add, though,
no sliver of divinity.
if you think this is the last step, I actually see another step yet that can be taken, and that is if you want to experiment on a drug, a legal drug, or I guess it's not technically legal until the FDA passes or whatever, but let's say you have Alzheimer's, and there's a drug out that they're going to, you know, like Alzheimer's is sometimes, like my grandmother, a long-term thing until it really affects
gradual.
Yeah, like that person should be able to try out a drug to see if it'll help them. It doesn't. I don't think it should be a terminal case. You know, if it's a medical issue that there's someone out there experimenting on ways to fix this problem, you should be able to experiment with that. I mean, I saw what my grandmother went through with Alzheimer's or dementia. I don't know which one she had, but I can't put myself through that. I can't put my family through that. You know, and I don't know what I would do, and I would want the opportunity to try. You know. Anything else in regards to those things at all?
Another campaign promise.
Checked
freedom.
off. That's a freedom belt right there.
It off.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, now, do you have anything social media-wise? How about your Twitter? You're active on Twitter, you said.
Yeah, I'm very active on Twitter. Yeah.
So how can people follow you?
It's Andy _Oliveira, OLIVEIRA_ 2 underscores at the end. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that gets confusing if you're just looking at it.
But yeah, you can find me on there, and then Facebook, just my original name, Andrew Oliveira. You guys can find me there, and yeah, I'm very political, so you guys will like my social media.
There you go.
Anything else to add at all before the end of the night here?
No, it's fun doing it with another Portuguese guy.
Catholic Portuguese.
Yeah.
We exist. Right?
Yeah, we're out there.
Conservative.
Another person that has EI in their name that probably screws up everyone you're trying to tell how to spell your name.
Right?
No, but it's I before E. No. Except after C and in our names.
So, we actually hit the 3 hours. I told them that we never hit the 3 hours anymore, but we actually did. But it was a good conversation.
For sure.
That was good.
So I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the podcast again. If you want to find us on social media, search for the Generation Y Conservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. On Twitter, if you're watching on the screen right now, the Twitter handle for that is @GenYConservative without the E on the end. Get involved with me there. I get involved in some of the morning shows, and we have fun stuff back and forth. Quite a few of my tweets have been read on there over the last couple months. So, but certainly subscribe, like, and follow any of the social media platforms. Tune in on Sundays from 3 to 6 p.m. to hear the audio version of the podcast. And you can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and iHeartRadio, and also find it on Spreaker. In the meantime, we'll see you next week. Have a great night, and God bless America.